Someone do a countdown.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh. New hypothesis. Let's go. Oh my god! I didn't realise the force of that.
Okay, welcome back to this thing that we're trying. Hope you enjoyed that introduction. It was, of course, a reference to the new rumors of a talk given at SVP about a new hypothesis of how Pachycephalosaurs competed with each other instead of headbutting. They apparently kickboxed, according to this new study.
Like kangaroos.
Just like kangaroos. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, well, we've had quite a successful first episode, I think. Everyone seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. I don't know if we want to do introductions again, because I think some people were confused about who you were.
Yeah, so I think we should kind of say our names. Don't let nothing silly, and just be like what we kind of study. Just like a quick introduction.
Yeah, we can
again.
do it again.
Yeah.
Just remind people.
Of course, everyone should know Ben.
I'm Ben. I'm a student at Portsmouth University. Been doing YouTube for a while, and I am currently studying ichthyosaurs. Going quite well. I'm enjoying that. We're all kind of into Mesozoic reptiles.
Well, actually, you're not actually working on Mesozoic reptiles,
Not
are you,
working on
Eddie?
it, but into them.
Traitor.
Oh, well, I actually collected my specimens, so I don't know what you guys are saying.
I did.
Did you? Oh, what, yours? Where'd you find it? Where was it?
Secret. I'm Hamza. I'm also a student at the University of Portsmouth. I study terrestrial crocodilians from the Isle of Wight.
Where did you find it?
That's no one's business.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and I'm Eddie, and yes, I don't do Mesozoic reptiles, but I do Eocene sharks at the moment for my dissertation. I found them at Walton and A's in Abbey Wood.
Yeah,
Nice.
Ben, where'd you find yours?
I didn't find mine. It was actually found by someone else back in the 80s. We can go over that again later.
Yeah.
'Cause we actually, if you watched the last episode, we talked about a trip we were going to do to see my specimen again and visit the Oxford Natural History Museum. We've done that. We got a bit of footage, so we might play that at some point.
Apologies, just realised I made a bit of a mistake. I'm not working on terrestrial crocodiliforms because terrestrial locomotion is actually quite hard to determine in crocodiliforms, like prehistoric crocodiliforms. But I'm working on crocodiliforms, so they are the group of crocodiles with extant relatives from the Isle of Wight. So I'm looking at the Cretaceous crocodilians. There's quite a few. I think there's about 8 taxa or genera of crocodiliforms that are known, but there should be more on the way because so much microvertebrate work. So yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely do a croc episode at some point, and you can talk all about them if you want. I know a lot of people enjoy that. Yeah, we got a good episode today. We've sort of decided on a name for the podcast. We quite liked the suggestion by a Dr. Fabius Tunk, who suggested the name BoneHeads.
Yeah,
we think that's
good.
quite effective because that kind of covers a whole range of things. We will be talking about a lot of bones
And heads.
and heads.
Yes, and
probably.
the introduction suits the title really well.
Yeah, so we thought colliding our boneheads together would be a good way to introduce that. So thank you, Dr. Fabius Tunk. We appreciated that. We think we will be going with that name if everyone kind of likes it. We also had a lot of good suggestions we know there were some audio issues that got quite bad at some point, so I actually cut out quite a bit of the episode where the audio was overlapping a lot, but now we've got kind of further away from each other, so I've got the sofa to myself.
So if
Yeah, I
Ben's
was
fallen
given a restraining
asleep,
order.
Yeah.
if Ben's fallen asleep while we're talking, you understand why? Because
I
he's the
can
most
just
comfortable at this
recline.
time.
Oh, you've got
back here.
3 cushions underneath you.
Yeah, I need a booster seat because you're all like on chairs higher up, so I'm really short now.
Yeah, you're just really short. That's
Yeah, but we've got Eddie over here,
Eddie to your
mate, what's
left.
Eddie to my left, Hamza to my right.
I
We're gonna try.
I get
There
a
was
name badge.
there was
That'd
some
be
good. Oh, we could do that actually.
Yeah.
There were some good suggestions about people don't necessarily know who these other two people are, so we're gonna try and use each other's names a bit more just to get people used. Hamza, Eddie,
Use my full name if you really want.
Edward.
and we also adjusted some of the camera heights, so you're not kind of like bearing down on us as much.
And we
Hopefully
can
that
get down
looks
on you.
More effective. We'll see. We're still open to feedback, so
Yeah.
please let us know how it all is, how it sounds, how
I
it
imagine
looks.
we'll mess around with it for a little while.
Yeah, it's a learning process. So we appreciate the feedback. People overall seem to really enjoy this new idea and the longer format of things and kind of talking about news. Speaking of which, do we
There's
just
a
want
lot
to get?
cover.
There's a lot of news that's happened in the last few weeks. Do we just want to get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
First thing,
I'm not gonna
should
lie.
we-
I'm kind of happy that we're doing more news rather than a specific
Yeah,
topic.
well, I got basically we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
There's a really exciting new Tyrannosaur study describing a new Daspletosaurus species, and that kind of got me thinking about one of the implications of the paper, which we'll explain a lot more later, is like supporting a different mechanism of evolution, like rather than we'll explain later. Rather than splitting off into new populations, this Tyrannosaur kind of indicates that the populations slowly changed over time into different species. It's called anagenesis rather than cladogenesis, where they're splitting into different clades. Got a good diagram to explain that later.
I know some really good paleo artists worked on that paper as well. I've
yeah,
seen
it
that
looked like
artwork.
it. There was some really.
Oh, yeah.
I don't actually know how it's by, but
Incredible artwork.
we can show that. But yeah, it got me thinking about anagenesis and other dinosaurs. So that's kind of going to be the topic for today, the main topic. But there's a huge range of news that has come out. So
Oh, I would like to say before we actually we can do it a bit later because I was going to say because if we were still talking about the last week's news, then I had the 2 fossils from Boldner.
oh yeah, no, we can talk about that.
We can
after if
talk
you want.
about that
Yeah.
later. But I got some really nice fossils from the first time we went to Boldner in the last episode, and
Yeah, I can
It's
get
just-
some close-ups.
yeah, we get some close-ups in a bit, but it just shows how you can find really nice stuff when you go down. Even for my first time down there, I found some really nice fossils. So yeah.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, obviously the first thing we should probably address is the headbutting versus kickboxing idea. Who was the talk actually given by? Did we?
Was it?
Sure.
I remember if we actually
The names that.
noted that. But apparently what they've done is like
is there not an article? Can we not get
Yeah,
that?
I
out?
don't know why I
Because with
didn't link
SVP,
it
it's
here.
mostly like sort of presentations and
Oh,
Yeah,
it was on
I-
Twitter. They said that,
posters and
didn't
stuff
they?
like that, isn't it? Rather than actual papers.
Was
They're
it on
not coming out
Twitter
till
they
later.
mentioned this?
Probably.
there was some discussion on Twitter, and there was just like some journalists I think had talked about it. So I don't think there's anything really to show, but they've apparently created a really good virtual 3D model based on exceptionally well preserved. I don't know if it's exceptional. A very complete skeleton of Pachycephalosaurus wyomingensis. And
I wonder
they
where it's
found,
from.
I know, it's such a creative name.
Evan
But they
White, yeah.
found some aspects of it that apparently look like kangaroo anatomy, and so they say it's a kind of ruffled texture at each end of the dorsal vertebrae, the backbones.
Yes,
It's also
the-
seen in modern kangaroos.
The
Yeah.
dorsal vertebrae are the ones after the thoracic vertebrae. They're the ones in closer to the pelvic region.
Yeah, I think when I was looking it up, it had been noted before, but I think this was the first time they were properly looking
I didn't
into it
actually
as a
know they.
consideration.
I didn't know they actually found skeletons
yes,
of
there we go.
Pachycephalosaur. I thought it was
Yeah,
mainly their skulls.
If you want to switch to that, so I think is that in view? Okay, I think this is what they're referring to. So I was looking this up when I was covering in 7 Days of Science. Is this the ruffled texture they
It looks like
mean?
muscle attachments.
Hmm.
But if they
Yeah.
if they said that they have a
Oh, you know what you should
skeleton, then
do? Look up kangaroo.
yeah,
See how that
That's a good
compares.
point. So yeah, it's interesting that there's that kind of level of convergence, I guess. I don't know
Oh,
what
wow,
these
that's not helpful.
are. But yeah, they described it as like a stack of
Oh, there you go.
Pringles or something.
Yeah, yeah, it sort of locks in together, doesn't it?
Maybe this is what they mean.
So should they have
guess.
They should have some sort of intervertebral disc.
But yeah, I mean, you'd expect that for whatever they were doing. I mean, everything has that, don't they? All vertebrates
Yeah.
have like stuff in between
Yeah.
the vertebrae. But
Yeah, you wouldn't find that though. I don't think that's
Yeah.
ever been.
but it's interesting. I think there were other features, and they suggested so the way we were being picked up
Yeah.
is because apparently they think they use their tails as like tripods or like to kind of brace themselves against,
Mm.
like kangaroos do. So
But this isn't the first time that it's been talked about them not actually headbutting. Like obviously, a while ago they were talking about how their skulls are solid bone rather than if you're comparing them to modern mammalian.
Oh, like
It's not
rams.
headbutters,
And
But those are hollow structures
Mm.
to absorb all that force.
yeah,
So it's not a new thing, but it's nice to have a different idea on what else they are doing, and hopefully like, this leads to a robust study.
yeah. So
Some
they,
good models.
I mean, they're gonna have a paper
yeah, so
eventually. I
there's
guess.
no paper yet.
No.
It's in review. Oh, it's probably been written right now. But
Mm.
this is a very big thing for a group of animals we do not know much of. We know
Yeah.
in America there are 3 main Pachycephalosaurids.
I think
Are they
more-
Pachycephalosaurids? Oh, well, the ones we know of so far, like the ones that are well known, are Dracorex, Stygimoloch, and Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah, and then there's also the idea that they're just a growth series of each other.
Yes, that is probably
so-
one of my favorite ideas of that group. That they
It was
think
quite cool.
it was a bone reduction, but more work needs to be done into it because you see Pachycephalosaurus actually has the bigger dome out of all of them, but has the shorter spikes on its head, whereas the other two, one has longer spikes, then it gets shorter in the middle, and then it gets shorter with Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah.
But their domes just keep getting bigger. So I find that's a really interesting idea.
Basically going bold.
Yeah. You're losing the amazing spikes for a big dome head.
Yeah, so I was just thinking there are other North American ones. Pretty sure Prinocephaly is from. Never mind, it's from Mongolia.
Oh,
There's
wow.
something else. What other?
There's a Mongolian Pachycephalosaur.
There are definitely other Pachycephalosaurs from Stegosaurus, right? North America, yeah. There's other
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, I remember seeing these in the Royal Tyrrell. This
Oh,
display.
well,
It's
Yeah,
really
I only
nice.
said them through because
Kind of cute.
Yeah, they are.
I only
really
said
small.
them through because we know if you've seen like media when it comes to like Jurassic World, they're
Yeah,
like the three
They're
main.
the main ones that
They're
get
the main
covered.
ones.
Yeah. So that's the idea. Hopefully, we get a nice paper on it eventually. And I remember in the article talking about it, they said, once they publish this paper, hopefully they'll find more details that either support this or, don't
Could
support
they
it. I guess.
use? I've just had this thought now. You mentioned this in the 7 Days of Science of the AI system on dinosaur footprints. Could they do something similar if they find the tail mechanic matches
I would,
their?
I would use finite element analysis. I would. And
do you want to explain what that is?
It's just basically.
It's like an engineering thing originally, right?
Yeah, it's
So, like,
basically
kind of-
testing the stresses of the individual bones. So it's like they would map each bone and
Okay.
that's how they've done it. It's used a lot with bite forces and
Oh, like Allosaurus.
cranial tests.
Yeah, it just sort of tells you like how much stress certain areas of bones can
Yeah,
withstand,
withstand.
right? And interestingly, sorry, off topic, but you'd think that's been applied to most fossil vertebrate groups, wouldn't you? But the paper recently doing it on ichthyosaurs was the first time that had been applied to ichthyosaurs.
Wait.
Which is
So
kind of
the
surprising.
AI system was used on ichthyosaurs first.
No.
No, I was very
Finite-
confused.
Finite element
Oh,
analysis.
finite analysis.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the AI system. I was
No.
like, ichthyosaurs do not have feet.
No. Since
Well,
you
they've got
brought up
paddles.
the,
Yeah, they got paddles, but
you
no
could,
feet.
you could use the paddles. Since you brought up the AI thing, do you want to talk about that next? Because you found that first.
Oh
right?
yeah, I did. I'm quite good. At that.
I didn't actually believe that when it came out because it came out on
Yeah.
my phone and I kind of disregarded it as like, oh, some random person has made a website, and then I actually realized it's a real thing.
Yeah, so I only very kind of briefly covered it in 7 Days of Science, because it's sort of like, it's like a very initial, like use of it, isn't it? They're kind of being like,
and also
here's this new technique. If you want to show the paper, if that's hopefully in view.
Discrimination of theropod and ornithischian dinosaur track.
It's still showing. Okay, nice.
Like the title.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it's this track lark quarry in Australia, and it was like
Australia
this,
has some brilliant
Yeah,
footprints.
Mm.
They
They-
have what we think is the largest sauropod footprint.
They do. I need to cover that in my sauropod video. That I'm
Yes,
still
because
working on.
there's a really good photo of a guy sitting next to it, and it's massive.
Yeah, they've got some brilliant trackways there.
Is it? Am I getting mixed up with South Africa that have the Dilophosaurus trackway? Or
It's
Dilophosaurid.
related. Yeah, Dracovenate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trackway's there, not in Australia. It's the one from South Africa, not the.
The one you did the drawing.
Yeah.
For, South Africa. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the paper. They got some pretty cool figures. So this is like a test set. It says. And this neural network model that they used to try and estimate like the creator of fossil trackway, and then applied it to this mystery track. Is this the one? Yeah. So this track had been debated whether it was an ornithischian or ornithopod or a theropod dinosaur.
It looks quite ornithischian to me.
I think
like
they,
the rounded eel.
Yeah. Ornithopod-like or theropod-like. But then the AI worked out that it
AI
was a
did it, which is
theropod.
pretty cool. I mean, I don't do technology, but this sounds pretty awesome.
So what is their range of it being incorrect?
I don't know. They say that there's some limitations. I'm not gonna pretend to understand how AI works.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, this looks just really insane.
Yeah,
Could you
but-
imagine applying this technology to the Wessex Formation?
I know it seems like something
It needs to be
quite
explored more.
exciting that this is
Yeah,
like the
it's-
first time that's been used, and they say we can obviously apply this
Apologies,
quite
I
a
bring
lot.
up the Wessex Formation because it is an amazing formation in the UK that has some three-dimensional dinosaur trackways. We've got an ornithopod trackway, we've got sauropods, we've got some really well-preserved theropods as well. And some of them are actually quite small compared to, we're very famous for our big theropods. So, of the early Cretaceous, so
Yeah, I
something
think-
interesting going on there.
I mean, most of them are pretty clear what they are. It's like iguanodon,
Yeah.
iguanodontid, or a sauropod or theropod. Yeah, no, this can definitely be applied in
Yeah,
future.
you never know where it's going to lead next because
Maybe.
it's crazy.
I mean, it says the DCNN, which is the Deep Convolutional Neural Network, consistently outperformed human experts on an independent test set.
Bruh.
So
Um,
that's pretty cool.
I was going to ask the most silly question then. Did they actually use paleontologists? But of course they must.
I would assume so, yeah. But anyway, that's really interesting. So I talked a bit about that in 7 Days of Science. Be exciting to see how that can be used in the
Yeah,
future.
I'm excited. I'm always excited to see research come out of Australia because
Hmm.
it's definitely overlooked a bit in terms of finds, but there's some fantastic stuff there. It really is.
Do we want to? Is there anything else?
No, I was going to
Want
say
add?
scary
Or,
animals.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we should do
that's
some Australian dinosaur.
Oh yeah, like
Um,
Australopithecus, Diamantinosaurus.
Some of the crocs from Australia are really good.
That's got some great.
Australia had that really interesting croc. It's not that old. It had horns.
Really?
Sounds
Which one are you talking
familiar.
about?
I'm not sure.
It had horns on its parietal.
Well,
No, sorry, postorbital.
what
they've
area are you
got com-
talking?
It's so while you guys are talking, I'm gonna have a
All right, yeah, you have
search
it.
of it.
So do we want to move into the kind of main event
Oh, yeah.
of this episode?
I do
Oh,
love
you know what?
a good Tyrannosaur paper like this.
Can you see that?
He's showing off a drip.
The Tyrannosaur drip.
Yeah.
It's on today. I knew
But
we were
have you
talking
got the
about
specific
Tyrannosaurs.
one on your shirt?
I have actually got the
Oh,
Daspletosaurus torosus,
okay, which is the older one.
the older type species.
Alright, so I've just found it. Apologies, I have to say it's not from Australia. It's from Madagascar.
Oh, okay.
It's the late Pleistocene to Holocene. It's a really interesting
Oh,
croc.
That
you know,
is
it looks like a
interesting.
Stemosuchus.
It's
That's
called
what it looks like.
It's I can't. If you want to pull it up quickly, just
Yeah,
have a
what-
quick
what
have a
is it
quick look
called?
at it. VOAY.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Damn. That is a nice skull.
Whoa, what's so funny?
Nothing.
But yeah, robustus, of course. Robustus means that you're going to be a thickened boned animal. Robust,
As opposed to
so-
grey soul.
Yeah, but two terms that need to be looked at properly when it comes to limb
Proportion.
morphology and proportions. But yeah, this is the really interesting croc I just mentioned.
Yeah. When you were looking at your,
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, in the American Museum of Natural History.
when you were looking at your terrestrialization,
We need to go there.
is it the grey cell limb is more for terrestrial locomotion, or is it robust?
So it is the tibia. So if you're a gracile form, you're going to be better at running. You're going to be
Okay,
better at
yeah.
cursorial lifestyle, which is running. But your tibia
That's what I was gonna
has
ask
to be
you earlier.
longer than the femur because it allows that, and your metacarpals need to be longer so they can actually. I can't get it think off the top of my head, but it's more like just for walking, a stance. But yeah,
No,
back to the Tyrannosaurs.
Daspletosaurus.
That was interesting. I hadn't heard of that before. So, new study published in, what was it published in? PLOS ONE, I think.
Yeah.
Why have
that's
I
what it was.
not linked the? Oh no, there it is. No, it's page 8. Never mind. Ignore that. Describing a new species of Daspletosaurus, a derived tyrannosaurian. It's dated to about 76.5 million years ago, which
Yeah.
is the
They weren't completely sure on the age, were they? But
yeah. They say some more work on the stratigraphy.
yeah,
needs to be
luckily they
done.
got some volcanic ash, which is currently being analysed, which should
Oh,
give them
nice.
extremely precise
Yeah.
date. But considering it's a transitional species, it's going to be between either 77 and 75.
Yeah, so it's the Campanian, but then it's the Judithian North American faunal stage because it's from the Judith River Formation of Montana.
Oh, we need to go to Montana, please.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Please take us to Montana.
Um,
Actually, we had a someone in the comment section say to come to Montana.
Oh, if you're offering, we'll
Put us up.
We'll help you find a dinosaur.
Yeah. No, he could find a dinosaur.
I'll-
so
well,
okay,
I'll-
honestly,
They will help as well, but I'll help you find a dinosaur.
eagle eyes. Anyway, yeah. So the really interesting thing about this new species, which is called Daspletosaurus wilsoni, after John Wilson, I believe was the name who found it. It's it's younger than Daspletosaurus prorsus, this one type species, and the later D. horneri, which was named in 2017. And that was the one, I don't know if you're following paleontology news for a while, you might remember that's the one that kind of triggered the whole face lip debate, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it had quite rugose skin.
and
They're like, oh, it had a crocodilian like
even in the
face.
title it says like crocodilian sensory structures.
Oh my gosh, I've forgotten the paleontologist that worked on that because I was literally looking at that paper this morning.
Carr? What is
Yes.
that? Yeah,
Thomas Carr.
Yeah, because they had that really the skull images like paleo art looked amazing, but they looked really flat, and I was just like,
I remember that. It was good at showing like what they proposed the scale textures to be like, but
we have soft body preservation of tyrannosaurs, don't we?
For
a
Tyrannosaurus.
little bit.
Ah.
If you want to quickly switch to this, I was going to show what the actual material looks like.
It's
for
not
this
too
animal.
bad to be fair. I mean,
Pretty good. It's an
That's-
almost complete skull. So there's the pre-maxilla. Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, there was something really interesting in the paper about the premaxilla, right? Which
Yeah, this. Oh my
Nice.
gosh, this is the one I saw on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, they mentioned what's his name? Jim Kirkland mentioned this.
Oh,
oh yeah, I
nice.
like Kirkland.
Yeah, I remember him mentioning this on Twitter, and yeah.
But anyway, about the premaxilla, right? Quite late into the paper, they talk about how so it's a fairly derived trait for Tyrannosauridae anyway, but specifically the more derived Tyrannosaurinae, those ones. So if you look at the teeth right in the front of the premaxilla, so they're much more mediolateral in the extremely derived ones. So if you're looking at it laterally, like side profile, you are only going to see that first tooth right at the front. You're not going to
Right.
see the other ones. Whereas
Okay. Yeah.
in slightly
They're
less...
like tucked behind the first front teeth.
yeah. Well, it's just like they're all in a row mediolaterally.
Interesting.
Um,
Will that not make it
whereas-
quite like slender snouted?
no. That makes the jaw wider because they're all in a row together.
Oh, apologies. I
Yeah.
thought you meant Rome going.
Whereas
So just kind of have like broader snouts.
yeah,
in a way.
but whereas in like slightly less derived ones, you can see all the teeth in the premaxilla, like they're not all in a row like that. And you can actually see, so in Taurosus, you can see all the teeth, but in Horneri you can't, and in
Oh, that's
Wilsoni
cool.
you can't either. So it shows that actually a lot of these are
Yeah.
really derived, like really derived traits are happening really quickly, like within 500,000 years.
That is interesting. So that's another thing. So basically, we should explain.
That is such a beautiful fossil.
It really
It's
is.
quite nice.
We should explain
The interview is actually slightly
Clade-
scary.
cladogenesis versus anagenesis, because that
Yes.
is kind of the main point of the paper. So I've got quite a nice explanatory diagram of this, which came out
Is this for the paper?
when the original 2017
Yeah, because
paper
that
came out.
proposed it, didn't it?
Yeah. So can you switch to this?
if you right click, you can
Is that right?
open. If you right click, you can open in.
Yeah, it's not great resolution. Oh, never mind. It's just
Oh, you
downloaded.
downloaded
It's
it.
fine. It explains it well. But basically, so cladogenesis is sort of what you see a lot in the fossil record, at least our perception of it, where there's an ancestral species, as you see in the diagram. One population becomes isolated in one way or another, and eventually turns into another species. You get two species coming from an ancestral species, splitting into different clades. So it's cladogenesis. Anagenesis is quite interesting because it's sort of almost like
It's like
The-
Pokemon
the
evolution. That's
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to describe it.
it is. Yeah, it's like more of kind of the incorrect, the older view of how evolution works, just like slow
Yeah.
progression,
So
which
like Darwin,
isn't the case in a lot of
like
other
Darwin's theories, where just stuff slowly evolved into one
almost
another.
it is like the traditional view of like the march of progress, like
Yeah.
the humans evolving,
Yeah.
which is weird because a lot of times cladogenesis is more what happens, and that's like a very simplified view, the march of progress. Anagenesis is where like one population over time completely changes into another species, and then another species,
And we're starting
however
to
many.
find evidence for that now.
Yeah, so this diagram shows it really well.
Obviously,
so,
we had the Triceratopsians,
yeah, so we're going
um,
to talk about that.
and I think so. When I was reading through that paper, they mentioned it in Tyrannosaurs as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
So is this
which are like mosasaurs.
is Daspletosaurus wilsoni?
Yeah.
Is that was that previously thought to be the ghost lineage that one of them is missing? So
In a way, yeah. So they in the 2017 paper naming Horneri, which is the youngest Daspletosaurus species known so far, they kind of mention the possibility of there being an intermediate species, and now they've
Yeah.
seemingly found that.
Well,
Maybe I'll
one
skip
of them,
back to that.
because there's
Yeah.
Dinosaur Park as well.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about. Yeah, so the really interesting thing about this new specimen is that it only shows one what is called an autapomorphy, which is just a term that means like it's a characteristic of the skeleton usually that is unique to this particular species and differentiates it from every other species. The main things that differentiate the new one, wilsoni, from the older one, prorsus, and the younger one, Horneri, is that it has like a combination of features seen in both the older and younger one, and then only one feature that's unique to just it.
Also, go on the paper. They've got a really, really good diagram where they've got the three species skulls lined up, and it's got the differences between each one. Because you can
not that one.
no, keep going.
I know.
Quite,
This one.
yeah, there you go. So you can really see how that lacrimal bone just above the eye.
just open the figure at the very bottom.
I know, not all of this will be visible, right?
Oh no, I mean, so like you could have just opened the download.
You're right.
Yeah, download again and just open the download.
1 second.
UK, it's raining again.
It's
Is all of that in shot? No.
No. Well, can you not do it after post?
It'll be. I mean, I can scroll up and down.
Yeah.
How much is visible?
But you can sort of see, so that lacrimal changes, which is just above the eye. Oh, look how the orbit changes shape as well, Hamza.
Sorry,
Because you remember
guys.
when we were talking about Tyrannosaurus and Tarbosaurus, how much different the orbital is in shape.
Yeah.
See that on those skulls?
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah. So
It
I think
does-
was
that's
that not?
interesting? Look at the sorry, apologies. Look at the mandibular fenestra. So that is the hole in the mandible right next to the dentary. That changes as well.
Wait, is that the bottommost one or the top?
Bottommost.
Okay.
This
That
one.
changes as well. All
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fenestrae means openings in the skull.
Yeah.
The fenestrae change drastically throughout them. So
Yeah.
there has to be
Well, you
some
can see how the
smaller ghost lineages in between.
rostrum moves forward as well.
So 1 second. I'm just gonna go back to my notes. I should really get something else to open these on. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open my notes on the phone so I can actually keep the screen up.
But there's
Can you
progress
scroll up?
people.
Can you
Yeah.
scroll up slightly?
Yeah, I want to see Horneri.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's
the
the later
materials.
one.
Yeah,
oh,
look
that's
at
great
the
there.
look at the crest above the eye as well. It gets
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah, well, that's the lacrimal.
So
That's lacrimal. Okay.
the only feature that is actually unique to it, all the other features are apparently combinations of
Yeah.
older and younger ones. I wrote down what the
Oh, it actually
unique
tells
feature
you
is.
what's
yeah.
happening in them. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't.
it's
Sorry, I
great.
didn't even know.
It's a really good figure. Like,
Mm.
some people will have not so good figures, and some just really like illustrate
What's
how the
interesting?
changes happen.
Of course, we can't determine how old each specimen is here unless you actually have the right bones needed to cut through. But
Oh well, no, they do talk about age
I
actually.
was gonna say, Horneri actually
Sorry,
looks slightly smaller. So like
I don't think it
goes
is.
no, just in that image there.
Okay.
The image looks like it's just gone from small, big, and then back to small again.
Well, they talk about age because obviously life stages in Tyrannosaurs is very well described by Thomas Carr. And yeah, they talk about how wilsoni is definitely like a very big specimen because the skull actually, is one of the largest Daspletosaurus skulls ever. It's like just over a meter long.
Wow.
It's like 105 centimeters, and
What's the general length of a Tyrannosaur skull?
I'm not sure, but it can be more than that. But then one of the other skulls was 104, and another one was 85-ish. But so wilsoni is a big Tyrannosaur, and while they have said you can't specifically say for adults that size is linked to maturity, but in terms of just general age, that is definitely a fully grown specimen. Because obviously, when it comes to these slightly earlier Tyrannosaurs, like Daspletosaurus, Gorgosaurus, and Abatosaurs, there could be a bit of confusion on the life stages as they can look drastically different through different ages. So there's been a bit of change for that.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's definitely a very big specimen. Yeah. No, it's got a good mixture of different traits. Oh,
Yeah, so sorry, I was gonna say they do actually say the only unique feature to it is the dimensions of one of the skull openings. The
yeah.
foramen on the splenial is like a different shape to an either of them, and then every other feature is apparently
Yeah.
a combination of older or
Apparently,
younger.
there is some similarities between it and the Dinosaur Park one, but obviously that one needs describing.
Horridus
Yeah.
has lost its lacrimal opening.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
This
like
is-
that.
No,
Although
no,
they're
no,
very-
above.
Yeah, but it's
That
slightly,
might
it
just
looks
be
like it's
how
slightly
it's
damaged.
Yeah, I
So
think it's
it
just how
might
it's
be that,
preserved.
Hamza.
Yes, I was gonna say the Dinosaur Park taxon. It basically just mentions this other specimen. So wilsoni is from Montana, and then it mentions the Dinosaur Park taxon, which would be from Dinosaur Park Formation in
Alberta.
Should we look up an image of? Did they have a fossil Dinosaur Park specimen?
I don't
No, I
know.
don't
They
think
just
they
they
do.
just mention it in a paper, but they say that could actually sort of disprove this idea of anagenesis, depending on what it is.
Well,
Because they do some
yeah.
comparisons here, and they say
It
it's
could-
very similar, but
it could still technically be
Yeah.
anagenesis, but mixed with cladogenesis, because obviously nothing
Yeah.
is so black and white. It's either one or the other. It could be obviously you still got this
it could have
lineage
split off
carrying
from
on,
the lineage. Yeah.
and then
That's
did
quite
you want to?
interesting.
So in the paper they do actually mention some of the things you need to sort of prove
Yeah,
anagenesis.
I did write that
Oh,
down.
good, because
Yeah, so that's
how
interesting.
how do
interesting
you actually
thing.
work out whether it's anagenesis?
Yeah, so the 2017 paper by Carr and colleagues,
And the
They-
Tyrannosaur paper mentions it as well.
oh really, that's good.
Yeah.
But they essentially predicted that there could be an intermediate species between the type older specimen and the new one they were describing back in 2017. And so they gave some criteria that would have to be met. They said there must be a lack of stratigraphic overlap, and that is probably the case here, except the Dinosaur Park taxon, if it's something new, which they're not sure it might be, it kind of overlaps in time with where this one comes from.
Yeah,
The
they're around the same-
Genesis kicks in then.
Possibly,
Yeah.
because then it depends. Basically, they say they need future study on Dinosaur Park Formation, like precise stratigraphy to tell where that comes from, and also to tell if that's a new species, or it could be another example of wilsoni. So probably, but depends on how this other taxon is classified eventually. They need to be closely related. They got that.
only
They need
like
to be-
one autapomorphy really.
Yeah, exactly. Intermediate morphologies, they've got that, the combination of older and younger traits, and similar geographic ranges. They're all from Montana or
Or Alberta,
Alberta, so they do meet all of that. Yeah, and interestingly, the study doesn't say that cladogenesis couldn't have happened at all, because they think the initial evolution of the lineage leading to Daspletosaurus and more derived tyrannosaurines, which they show in one of the figures. Let me just get that up. Here it is.
Oh yes.
Is that in view?
They talk a lot about bootstrapping. Now I didn't really understand
Oh,
this,
is
but
this
apparently
something like that?
having a low bootstrap score also indicates anagenesis, but doesn't like
Right.
isn't like a sole. You
Okay.
can't just use bootstrap score for it, but it does help indicate anagenesis.
Oh, do you mind
That's
opening
cool.
the image bit?
Clicking on it.
Light's blinding me.
Oh, there's a download full size image button. of
Yeah,
it.
It's
fine,
it's
fine.
going to cut off for
Okay.
the screen.
Yeah, sorry, the
that's not
light is
showing
just
it, is it?
blinding me, so I couldn't
Is
actually
it?
see it.
Yeah, no, see, we need it kind of lower so that it's all in shot. But yeah, the very interesting thing about this, which they mentioned in the
Ooh,
study,
yeah.
is
I
that
know what you're talking
I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I haven't read the paper, and I'm not
We're
well, we
teaching
can kind
you.
of- we're t-
Yeah, you're
telling you
teaching
about
me.
it.
You're the
and the
live
viewers.
audience.
Yeah.
But this is really cool because if you notice, Daspletosaurus as a genus is not all
Wait,
together.
wait, what?
They're like successive
Yeah.
groups branching off from the lineage. So these are more derived tyrannosaurines, so T-Rex itself and relatives, including
I believe that makes
Zootyrannus.
it a poly.
Yeah, so they
only.
say they recover, and they say there's going to be another paper investigating this further.
Yeah.
Their outcomes here. The Daspletosaurus itself is paraphyletic, which we talked about last time, is where it's polyphyletic.
Yeah.
So basically, that's like unrelated taxa that don't descend from a common ancestor being grouped as the same thing. So Daspletosaurus as a genus might have to be split up. They're saying
It might be that.
Wilsoni and Horneri might have to be named as different genera altogether.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
keep
it's
it
interesting.
monophyletic, Daspletosaurus.
What would you give
sclerosis.
what would you give them the names?
I dunno.
What names would you
Dunno.
give?
Name them after more Game of Thrones dragons.
No.
As I say. But yeah, no, that's quite interesting. They say there's going to be another study that they're working on.
That's
So we'll
actually
investigate
really
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also depends on where the Dinosaur Park one fits in as well.
Yeah, exactly. That could
So
complicate
have
things.
they mentioned Dinosaur Park 1 is going to be talked? Like,
Yeah,
they're
they
making
are
a paper
currently
on it.
covering
There's a
Okay.
couple papers. Well, it's funny because there's a 2001 paper talking about the Dinosaur Park taxon being like, oh, there's going to be a study on this soon. That was back in 2001. So
That was before we were alive.
yeah.
Hang on, that's the same thing with Quetzalcoatlus' monograph. They said that we'll
Oh,
have
but
it.
the guy working on that died. So.
Okay, we might need to cut that bit out.
That's fine.
But where is the
It
paper?
happened
No, it's
eventually.
here. We've got the paper.
Got like 7 papers. Yeah.
Yeah, it took them.
Yeah.
How long did Martel said? It took them 50 years.
Probably
Uh,
since its discovery.
Yeah, it
maybe.
came out last year. It took them 50 years.
My
Does this
God.
like sort of poke holes in the whole Tyrannosaurs, like as in Tyrannosaurus itself arriving from Asia and then filling
Yeah,
in
it
the
is
niche of the North
interesting.
American ones? Because if it's all coming off of Daspletosaurus
These
is a
are
North American.
and then
So-
these are Asian, and then
Going on to your
T-Rex
point
is-
about
yeah.
saying if they come from Asia, but what about Zoochang Tyrannosaurus? Why is it so far down on the tree? Shouldn't it not be further
But then
up?
No,
I mean,
it shares a lot.
Tarbosaurus as well.
Yeah, it shows a lot of traits as similar with Tyrannosaurus itself. It's very close.
So then we should be looking in Asia more to find that early ancestor to see
mean,
if
I guess it doesn't make it. It sort of works, right? If there's a land bridge that's
Yeah,
open
I
at various
guess so.
times, they could be moving back and forth. There could just be a lot of interchange.
territorial.
Yeah, no, it's really cool paper. I mean, every time there's a new Tyrannosaur paper like this, I
Mm.
love it because I'm not the
When
ones
was-
where it's like talking about size and stuff.
When
like
was
that,
the
I don't
last
really
one we
care for
had? The
those.
last one was disproving Greg Paul.
Oh, God, we
Oh,
don't
yeah,
need to get
Greg
into
Paul.
that. That's
Um,
going to be fun to
The
talk about
last,
sometime.
but last one I really liked was the Gorgosaurus paper in summer, where it was looking at these really good skulls of fairly young Gorgosaurs, which was actually the paper that brought Thanatophorestes back. And they mentioned Thanatophorestes
yeah,
in this
don't
as
they
well.
say that could be another? That's a synonym of Daspletosaurus.
No, it's not, because so you had the original paper in 2020 by Voris,
Hmm.
and then another guy went on and said, "Oh no, I think it's just a synonym." Also,
Right.
it's Thanatophorestes is older than prorsus.
Okay.
It's a couple million years older. They didn't include it in the cladistic analysis because it's not very complete, so
yeah,
it kind of
you can't have
it
too many
weakens the
features.
tree. That's why they didn't include a couple of other species like Nanoxaurus.
Hmm.
But yeah, that another paper went and disproved it. But then the specimens they used to synonymize Thanatophorestes, it turns out that the 22 paper, the specimens they used were then later reclassified into Gorgosaurus,
Oh,
so they
brilliant.
can't be used to synonymize Thanatophorestes. It was quite funny. I was reading the paper, and while it sounds all scientific, to me
Yeah.
in my head, it's just like them having a dig at that other paper and just
I love how you
wiping
can
house.
tell that in papers. It's like they use all the
Bit
proper language
sarky.
and everything, but they are being very sarcastic and passive aggressive. It's
yeah.
great.
Just realised the last Tyrannosaur paper wasn't Greg Paul's disproving. It was the bite holes in the skull.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
that
They
was
said it wasn't-
really interesting.
What's
I
that?
think
I
I
covered
sent
that
that to
in-
you,
Yeah,
and I was just like, "Wait, really?"
covered it
they-
in 7 Days of Science.
It was worked on Sue. Sue was the skull they looked at.
Yeah, I
They
remember.
basically just said like a lot of the pathologies, the injuries they find on the back parts of the lower jaws of T-Rex specifically, they thought they were infections by a bacterium.
Yes.
I don't remember what it was, but they've said instead
Is that
it's
not,
more likely to be actual bite marks.
did
from
they
other
not look at
T-Rexes.
falcons? Because do they not they
Can't
suffer
remember.
from similar infections?
Yeah, but it's quite interesting.
It's a very interesting paper.
Papers like these rekindle my love for Tyrannosaurs. I
Yeah.
forget how much I love them until I start reading papers like this. Great stuff.
Yeah, so the paper just kind of concludes that they find a lot of support for this case of anagenesis. Yes, the single or tapomorphy, the unique derived trait in this species, is exactly what you'd. I need to be louder.
No, do you know what she's doing? She's making me laugh. She's making me laugh. That's what
alright,
she's
we
doing.
we need more smiles.
No, she's making me laugh.
Producers being distracted.
While you two are talking, I'm just here like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna start crying.
Real science over
Yeah.
here, Hamza.
I'm gonna
honestly.
start crying in a bit like,
No, it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Keep doing that. Good job. Anyway, yeah. So
we need to make a little clip out of Charlie, which is staring at me like,
yeah. Yeah, so they just say that the single tapomorphy, that's a good indicator of anagenesis because you wouldn't expect loads of unique derived traits
No.
in an ancestral species. You'd expect few and then a combination.
Yeah.
So So that's good support for this being the
And
case.
this isn't the first time anagenesis has been seen in dinosaurs.
It's
No,
not.
No,
We're
no.
going to talk about other features. Other examples of that. There was
Yeah.
wait, one more thing I wanted to say. They make it very clear at the end of the study that future discoveries could change this quite a lot. And once more work has been done on other Daspletosaurus specimens, the idea could change.
Yeah, and
They're very open
hopefully
to that.
some
but-
more robust chronostratigraphy.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely need that.
But before we finish this, and I've just had an idea, just to bring in my. So we have you guys who love your Tyrannosauridae.
Mm.
I love my Spinosauridae.
Oh no, cut this bit. Cut this bit.
If you go back to the if you go back to
He's telling
the
us to stop.
cladogram,
This
the
Other one.
the other one. Sorry, yeah,
That's further down, isn't it?
anagenesis and
Comparing the
cladogenesis. Yeah, the
skulls.
comparisons.
Oh. Very
Oh,
sorry.
I know
This
which one you mean.
Yes, so I want to say quickly, this would make sense because after the new discovery of Ceratosuchops and Reparvinator from the
dear.
Wessex Formation,
Oh, no.
paleontologists have grouped them into a group known as Ceratosukopsinae, so they group them closer to Suchomimus, not Baryonyx, which is very confusing and more work should be done into that. But it makes sense because the Suchomimus lineage and the Baryonyx lineage, they are not related to, they're not as close as we think they are to Spinosaurus. Irritator, Ichthyovenator, Siamasuchus, Oxalia are all related to Spinosaurus, whereas Baryonyx and Suchomimus aren't. This can be backed up again using the new density bone paper,
Oh yes.
which said that which said that so Spinosaurus Baryonyx may actually be able to float and swim.
Yeah, it sounds quite
Yeah.
aquatic,
The
didn't it?
Suchomimus couldn't, which is really interesting, and this study should have been applied to Reparvinator and
Yeah, but it came out
Ceratosuchops.
after.
It was quite.
It came out after, but
quite
I
close.
think there should be
to when
an-
it been published.
yeah, I think they need to do another paper just
Yeah.
saying that
Yeah,
these
we
two,
should see.
if they're related to Suchomimus,
Although,
then that means cladogenesis happening in Spinosauridae.
yeah, but material isn't great for those two. Like,
No, they're
they
not
were
the-
using
Yeah, they're not the greatest, but we are having another paper very soon on the tail of Reparvinator. Only the skull
Yeah.
material was released, just showing the differences.
They say the tail is there, but yeah, they'd mentioned in that.
I've
in
actually
that
seen the
paper
tail.
that-
I've seen the tail. It's really
lucky.
cool. It was sent to Germany for an exhibition, but it's on its way back. It's
Yeah.
really nice
There's
material.
gonna be a big description of Baryonychine.
Yes, so we know a
tail
paleontologist. I think they're redescribing Baryonyx. Oh God, I've forgotten its species name.
Walker.
Walkeri. Well, I've forgotten that. I was going to call it.
Parasuchian, that's what it is.
I was going to call it. I was going to call it Bucklandy then, but I was just like,
Whoa.
no, I'm getting my dinosaurs mixed up. Yeah, but I'm very excited for that because we have three Spinosauridae in the UK. It would be
Possibly
cool.
more, right?
Yeah, we think there's more.
Yeah.
You
There
got
is.
Suchosaurus, which
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we have that odd thing, and then we've got there actually has been some really weird teeth come out the Purbeck in the Jurassic. There are elongated teeth, which people actually think might be croc teeth.
yeah.
Others, and I've actually spoken to Dr. Nizar about this. This actually might not be a croc tooth. They actually might be early Spinosaurine teeth.
I don't.
The work needs to
Nah.
be the work needs to be done on them.
Yeah,
though.
but if you think of it, like, look how different early Spinosaur teeth are to Spinosaurus itself, and then look at croc teeth.
Yeah.
Nah, there's no way.
more work needs to be done. on
They're
it.
being optimistic at best.
Zucosaurus, yeah.
I'm just getting up some images.
Yeah.
Teeth.
So was this the one that Gideon Mantell's wife found?
Well, yeah, I think it's like Cuvier, but I get
Did she
confused between
find?
them.
I swear
Uh,
she was the one who found this.
I might be.
This history and discovery. Go down.
Oh, yeah, it was Mantel.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I remember because I'm not gonna lie. I've tried my best to find this place and find more remains, and I can't find it. But
Yeah, just chalk.
yeah. So
Oh, that's nice.
that's the
Where
one.
is that?
That's Tokyo.
Oh, we need to go there.
Funny enough, you know that specimen is actually smaller than the one they've got in NH1. The NH1 is massive.
Can we go back to the papers?
Yeah, we got a little bit distracted there, but
you
anyway,
need to start talking about Spinosaurs.
I needed
wanna
a bit.
talk
I
about-
needed a bit of my
I want to
talk
talk
on.
about anagenesis.
I don't
again.
know. I don't think there's any direct evidence for anagenesis in Spinosaurs yet.
That's what I'm saying.
but
More work should be done on it.
Yeah.
That was just an idea
You
I
need more
had
s-
in the sense
You need more
right now.
species.
The interesting thing is, like, most of the examples of anagenesis in dinosaurs seem to be coming from North America, like
Yeah.
Montana.
Well, it's because that's where a lot of the work is
Well,
done.
Yeah.
the thing is, if you think about it, Montana's
You've
quite
got-
closed off. It's quite
You've got quite complete
yeah.
stratigraphic range. I suppose,
What
of
I'm saying is,
different
North America
formations.
at the time are quite closed off. They're quite like islandate.
What, because of your Western Interior Sea?
Yeah, they're just so like restricted
Oh.
for themselves that they actually have times to.
Part of the way they were able to roughly date that Judith River stuff is because they know it was around the peak of the marine regression of the Western Interior Seaway, and that matches up with Dinosaur Park. The Dinosaur Park specimen is
Okay,
around the
let's-
same time.
I'm gonna push away from Spinosaurs. All Jurassic Park 3 fans are sad. I had to
Um,
point.
You got a lot of flack for that last
I did.
episode. That was funny. I
Oh,
agree
yeah,
with you though. It's a good
Triceratops.
film. Yeah. Anyway, so talking about anagenesis in dinosaurs, it kind of got me thinking, and it's cited a lot in the paper. You know, it's interesting that this keeps being found in certain lineages of dinosaurs. So we're going to look at some other examples of evidence for anagenesis in dinosaurs.
What are you doing?
I know who's on this paper.
Oh,
all right.
hold
John R. Horner. Wait, there's another guy called Horner.
It's the same guy, isn't it? Jack Horner. He's called John, but he goes by Jack.
Damn,
Right? Pretty
the more you
sure.
learn.
What?
Wait, I swear. Hang on. Let me. Yeah, Museum of
Oh
Rockies.
yeah. Well, he was part
His
of the
name
Rockies
is John
then.
Horner, but Jack is like another name for John, right?
Of course.
All right.
Right. Let me.
Ben Weevil.
Ben Weevil.
No
can
way.
type.
There's a Jack Horner pie.
Yeah, John Robert Jack Horner.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh my gosh, his birthday is so close to my date.
Nice. Anyway, yeah.
Sorry, apologies.
Jack Horner's on this paper, but whatever. This is quite an interesting one where basically they surveyed over 50 skulls. I think they say it was specifically skulls.
Yeah. Well, with
Yeah.
ceratopsians, there's not much difference between the actual postcranial skeleton, so
That's
you
true.
have to use your
Yeah.
skulls.
But specifically from the Hell Creek Formation of Montana, they looked at over 50 Triceratops skulls, and they realized that the two different species are separated by stratigraphy and therefore time. So you get
Yeah, they've got really good chronostratigraphy, haven't they?
yeah. So that's the interesting thing. There's two species of Triceratops. Is there a third one?
No, there's two.
Two species of Triceratops.
Horus. Yeah, there's only two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triceratops horridus and Triceratops prorsus. And they found in this survey that they only find Triceratops horridus in the lower part of the formation and Triceratops prorsus in the higher part. So that means horridus lived earlier than prorsus.
Do you know what they
Um,
use to date it? Are they using like dinoflagellates or diatoms or something?
I don't know. I think
Because
maybe just
it's
the
got to be something
stratigraphy.
extremely like accurate. Like
Let's look at the
resolution
methods.
must be quite deep.
I think it's just
that's a
where,
really nice.
where they come from.
Oh, that's a
in
nice
the,
said
It's
log.
a really nice
Yeah.
set log and figure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at this! Look at the
Yeah,
differences
but
in the
see if you
horns
can
as
go
well.
down and see what they're using to stratigraphy it.
this? No, that's the measurements of
Yeah.
the skulls. But yeah, so basically they find there's actually quite a clear difference in the morphology in the morphospecies. And they're separated by time.
Yeah.
And then in the middle they actually find some almost like transitional ones that have a
Ben, if
combination
you
of
click
both.
on materials and methods on the left hand side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know how papers
Also, I
work.
swear Prorsus has like shorter brow horns, but
Is that what they say?
There you
in
go.
this?
There you go.
Uh,
Boundary
from the
between.
specimens.
Measuring marker sandstone.
Ah, okay.
They just
So they're using that.
Yeah, no. If
That's
you
what
read
they
the next
do,
paragraph
yes.
underneath as well.
magnetozones.
Magneto.
Not from X-Men.
Oh cool. Oh, are they looking at
Oh.
magnetic reversals?
Yeah.
Called.
Halo,
This is like basic geology stuff.
magnetism.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
when
cool.
the poles switch over. Obviously, that changes
Oh,
how
awesome.
the rocks.
Gosh, that's.
Yeah,
So
that's
is that
pretty cool.
just wait?
Didn't know
What are they
exploited
looking at?
that.
Like orientation of iron or something?
Yeah.
How would
That
they
is
look at that in
insane.
sandstones? That's pretty cool. So they've got pretty good stratigraphy of Hell Creek then.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
which
not
is one of
gonna
the
doubt
problems
every-
with the Greg Paul paper, because when they were
Yeah.
looking at the stratigraphy, they just said like lower, upper.
Yeah.
Instead
mean,
of,
that-
whereas
that
you've got this
seems to
really good
be-
chronostratigraphy done in this Triceratops paper. And so
Cool.
why haven't you got that?
Oh, whenever you wait. So is this actually showing anagenesis?
Yeah,
and
this is showing
cladogenesis?
different versions.
So what's C and D then? What's happening? Is that just different
True
versions of?
cladogenesis. What is B showing? Bifurcation of an anagenetic. Oh,
Ah.
so actually this is interesting. So B is kind of showing what might have happened with Daspletosaurus.
Yeah.
We've got an anagenetic lineage going like this, and then if the dinosaur park taxon is something else, maybe it's split off in cladogenesis. So they're not mutually exclusive. You
No.
can have both going at the same time.
That's what bifurcation is.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So I feel like for most of the fossil record or most of evolution, it is going to be a combination of both.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, there is evidence of one happening and the other happening. So it's interesting. There's these different mechanisms of evolutionary processes, and you can actually find evidence for them in the fossil record.
Yeah. Oh, and
Pretty
it's
cool.
not just Triceratops, is it? Because there was a
Yeah.
centrosaurine one, wasn't it?
So I have that.
Good transition. Sorry, I had to say that. Very good transition.
Yeah.
You've broken it. I was rolling with it.
So there's actually a couple of other ceratopsian studies. I don't know why I don't get my notes up on here again, because I do.
Stellasaurus
some
sounds
good
like
ones.
it reminds me of Stella's cow.
Yeah, so just moving on to another of the papers that talks about anagenesis in dinosaurs. Quite interesting. Also from Montana, but different formation. New medicine formation. They talk about a new Styracosaurus line dinosaur, which they name Stellasaurus Anchiceratops, new genus and new species. And it was previously referred to, based on a specimen, it was previously referred to a ceratopsian called Rubeosaurus, which I don't know if that's valid now or not. It's in quotation
Yeah, it
marks
doesn't
here. So,
sound like...
but yeah, they basically say, found in two medicine formation, and it's between the older Styracosaurus and the younger Anagenesis, which
Can we have some images?
I should find some images.
Yeah,
There's
can we have
probably
some
some figures
images?
in here. There are some figures, indeed.
bones.
Like bones.
Yeah, so here we go.
Oh, cool.
Hang on, I'll open it actually in the paper because I don't think it's gonna show the full thing.
It's so good when paleontologists or just anyone working on ceratopsians put skulls next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
they are
you have to
beautiful.
do it. You have to.
I still can't remember. I remember
Yeah.
when I was younger seeing like
Yeah, continue.
seeing a exhibit where it was like all these different skulls of ceratops.
It's
Oh,
in America.
yeah.
It's in America.
No,
It's
but,
the
yeah, but I've
walls-
never been to America.
No, but have you not seen the photo? Have you seen the photographs of it? You've
No, but
shown
I've seen,
me.
I
haven't
know
I've
you?
what
seen
you're
one in
talking about.
person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I can't remember where. I was really
Yeah.
young. I have a feeling it might have been Natural History Museum, but I don't feel like I don't know where it could
Maybe
have
maybe
been.
there's a temporary exhibit or something.
It might have been maybe where the old walkway stuff was just before you reach the animatronic T-Rex.
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds sort of familiar.
Oh, that sounds familiar now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, there's a nice
That sounds familiar.
figure here. So they show Styracosaurus at the bottom,
Yeah.
the oldest. Then you've got Stellasaurus, the new one that they're describing here, and then C. Anagenesis. And so again, yeah, there's evidence for anagenesis. You've got all the same stuff where there's like
Yeah.
a combination of derived and ancestral traits.
It's interesting to see how much anagenesis appears in like
Yeah,
these two groups, Tyrannosaurs and
and
Ceratopsians.
yeah, I think it.
general.
If it's, I don't know if it's just because this happens to be where there's like a good continuous
Yeah.
stratigraphic record, and
With a lot
also
of fossils.
yeah, there's like an
Might be.
easy kind of record of their
I love
features
these
changing,
names.
like
Sorry.
easily recognizable ones.
I've just seen the names of the group. It's called the Belly River Group.
Oh yeah, they got some great
Oh,
names
yeah.
over there.
Yeah,
it's weird.
so specifically centrosaurines, and it ends with Achilosaurus. I don't know where that is on the Achilosaurus. It's D. Yeah. So this
Okay.
whole sequence here is proposed to be an anagenetic lineage. So that's another example of it happening in North America in ceratopsians, which is interesting. That's not the only case of it happening in ceratopsians.
More.
There's another one. There's
Damn.
probably
I
others as
think
well.
There is
but-
more.
But I guess I saw what's going to happen with skulls like this because obviously they're more for display rather than actual defense. So slight differences are going to relate because obviously if you've got two species, they're not going to have the same sort of display rituals, are they? So if you've got slight differences, that completely throws it all off, and you essentially get a different
Yeah,
species.
I don't, it's obviously a lot of speculation.
Oh
but
yeah, it's hard to
kinda
tell with
funny
deep
how-
time like this.
It's called the Kirkland Formation.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with that?
No, it's just like, is it named after Jim Kirkland?
I don't know.
A
mean-
Kurtland,
Oh,
Different.
Kirtland.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Oh.
different name.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Pentaceratops.
I feel like it could just be kind of different. Gradually over time, populations are
Yeah,
going to be like displaying in different ways. Maybe different features
And I guess
become
with a lot of
favourable.
display features. Obviously, usually the bigger they are, the better. So
Yeah.
there is going to be a trend towards that, but maybe not an actual split.
Yeah, so that's sort of, in a way, is that not arguing against ceratopsian frills being for species recognition? Because you actually don't have, I mean, in cases, yeah, there are lots of different ceratopsian species coexisting, but in these cases, they're not contemporaneous. They're slowly
Yeah.
evolving populations over time.
Well, yeah, I guess it's different place, different time.
Yeah, it would depend. A lot more study needs to be done on this. It is
It's
a very,
cool.
very interesting phenomenon. But yeah, so there's this other example where 3 new chasmosaurines are described. Only 2 of them are named.
When was this
So
paper?
this was 2020.
Yeah,
was it?
June
Okay.
5th.
Yeah,
Oh, so it's recent stuff.
Fowler and Friedman Fowler, 2020. So they name Navajoceratops sullivani and
Nice name.
Hermonocavus celii, and then there's a very fragmentary third species, which they just call taxon C. Nice creative name there.
It's definitely got to do with stratigraphy because all of these are from the Campanian, and so that must be really well.
Yeah, I think it is
established.
just where they've got good documentation. There's a San Juan Basin from the stratigraphy, and there should be some nice. Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
Wow, that's
So-
really nice.
This
that's
is
cool.
just like is this just a general chasmosaurine? Because the main thing that they track in this anagenetic or proposed anagenetic lineage is, so this massive structure here is called the parietal embayment, or just like embayment of the frill. So as you can see in this small diagram here, it's just a bit that sort of goes in like this, and basically, there must be a nice figure showing changes over time, but they show how between
Navajo.
so it actually goes further than that. So it's between Pentaceratops and Anchiceratops.
Oh,
This embayment gradually gets deeper. Oh, please say this is in
oh no, you can.
time order.
I feel like you can kind of see that.
Yeah, you can see it on
So is
the
that-
the bottom left.
I mean, I don't know which way it's going, but
So
yeah.
it's going. Oh, why have they got? Where's Anchiceratops in here? It's not shown, is it? But they're basically saying this embayment gradually gets.
Just seen that.
Yeah, because that's all they've got. I don't know really why that's.
Wait, why is
included,
taxon
but-
C not in position C? That's annoying me.
I don't know. It's just because it's
Oh,
the third one described
yeah.
in this paper. But yeah, so this embayment gradually gets deeper, as you can see here, and then it starts to enclose on itself. Yeah, so they say, there's a quote from the paper, the embayment of the parietal deepens and closes in on itself over about 2 million years. They've got this 2 million year record of a possible anagenetic
Well-
lineage, and they can track this one feature, like going from that to, and then kind of curving on
Could
itself.
you not call that like an Oxbow Lake?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Hey, that's kind of cool. Actually, that's interesting. So, what the Tyrannosaur
Oh, here we
paper is
go.
saying that a lot of these really derived traits are appearing in about 500,000 years, and then you've got about 2 million years. Do you remember that we've had a couple talks where they talk about species generally only lasting somewhere between a couple 100,000 years to up to at most 2 million years?
Yeah, is that
So-
focused on mammals though? Or like, at least in
Yeah,
modern
but I mean,
cases.
it's what we've got for now. But
yeah.
that's interesting how we've got so essentially, speciation, and it's happening at a really relatively similar rate to what we're
Yeah, so
looking
this is what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5, possibly more species over about 2 million years.
That's amazing.
Why can I not find what I'm looking for here?
Should have
Oh,
pulled it
that's
up
true.
beforehand.
I just realised we kind of forgot to talk about the paleo art for the Tyrannosaur paper.
Yeah, we can put that in.
Yeah, we can have a look at that.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
quite
I
nice.
would like to look at that. That'd be
It's
nice.
quite funny looking. He's quite distinguished.
I want to look. I want to look at this
He's
then.
distinguished.
I tried to stay away from this paper for today. So
Oh, what a surprise for you.
Yes, that's interesting. And again, they're not all like the same place. You can see as Alberta, Utah, New Mexico, but it's relatively
Yeah.
geographically similar. And yeah, it's just very cool that they've tracked this one trait and described these 2 new species, this fragmentary third one, and found this change in the
Yeah, I wonder
Chasmosaurian lineages.
Yeah, I wonder if you can do because I've seen a lot of people when they talk about this is really off topic. Atodus, the genus of shark.
Yeah, yeah.
They talk about
Megalodon.
how the lateral cuspids disappear and the main tooth, the main crown gets bigger.
there's-
I wonder if there's anagenesis there, or
I mean,
is
have
that
they
just
not already
cladogenesis?
sort of tracked that
I
a
don't-
little bit?
I
Like
don't know.
one turning into the other. I
Well,
think there is. I've
there
read
might
some
be.
evidence for that being Megalodon coming from an anagenetic lineage. Yeah.
that'd be cool.
There's more cases in dinosaurs though. So I've got yet another species. This time we're
which one
changing it
you
up
on
though,
next?
mixing it up. It's actually a hadrosaur.
Oh,
Ooh, I like the hadrosaur.
Yeah, so this time it's a hadrosaur. In this paper is a Brachylophosaurine. They named a new species in this one again from the Judith River Formation. Yet again,
back here
from,
again.
Montana. I'm
Well,
assuming it's Montana again.
yeah.
Yeah, Montana. And yeah, so this is really interesting. So it's
old
it's
one.
looking at the nasal crests of these hadrosaurs.
Bro, what year was this?
This is 2015.
so it's all pretty
Yeah.
recent stuff, to be fair.
Yeah, there's probably older ones. These are just the ones that were cited right at the end
Yeah.
of the Daspletosaurus paper. So I was like, oh, have a look at these and talk about other cases. You said, you said there's cases in mosasaurs as well.
Yeah, I think
and-
that paper
and
was pretty
Photos-
recent as well.
Photos. Yeah. But these
I
figures
don't know
are
what they were looking at in
not-
dinosaurs, but
showing exactly what I wanted to see. Here we go.
oh,
This
that's
is more
cool.
like a. Oh, can I
That's
just
really
go to it in
nice.
the
Yeah, so
in context?
bro, look at that
There
jaw.
you
Oh my
He's
gosh, I've
sturdy.
just seen the bottom one.
Yeah, yeah, that oh my guy's sturdy.
go. Yeah. So these are the taxa that are quite relevant here. So they describe a new species which they call Probrachylophosaurus bergii. And so the Brachylophosaurine clade itself was actually hypothesized to show anagenesis before this, because there's the older these names Acristavus, right?
Yeah.
This one
Mm.
doesn't have a nasal crest. Then you go to Brachylophosaurus canadensis.
Oh
is the
my gosh,
species
I can
name.
see it now. Sorry,
Yeah, it's got quite a paddle. They call it a flat paddle-shaped nasal crest, kind of projecting backwards a bit. And then, for some reason, it's not even showing it here. But then you've got Myosaura. I'll bring up an image of that because it's quite important. Well,
Myosaur, isn't that the meaning? This is one of my favorite
Yeah,
dinosaurs,
it's
isn't
good
it?
mother.
Caring mother,
yeah, the famous
protecting its
described by
children.
Horner.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they are talking about this like small crest
Yeah.
here. So they
must be.
say it's an upwards projecting nasofrontal crest. And then the new one they describe, Probrachylophosaurus.
Yeah, that's where the nasal frontal connect.
Yeah, it has
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah, it's said to be intermediate specifically between Acristavus and Brachylophosaurus.
Okay, but it actually falls
Um,
within the latter genus.
It's a new genus.
Wait,
Probrachylophosaurus. Yeah, it got to be confusing with that.
Oh,
But I guess
yes.
it shows it's like before Brachylophosaurus, and they say
Much bigger as well.
yes.
One
this
thing
could
I
be
would have said in
anagenophic.
that figure was that it would have been nice just to outline on the other two dinosaurs where the
Yeah, like specifically what they're
specifically
talking about.
where it's affecting. Because just looking at that, the colors are just grabbing my attention, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think this
actually
is showing
looking.
the specimens they've got. But yeah, so the way they say that this is probably anagenesis is that the morphology of the crest in Probrachylophosaurus is actually similar to earlier growth stages in Brachylophosaurus. So it looks like the crest of a younger individual in Brachylophosaurus. However, they investigated the age of Probrachylophosaurus and they find that for the size it is, it's a lot older than what you'd expect for
Yeah.
Brachylophosaurus. They say it's probably a new genus, Probrachylophosaurus. And yeah, so that almost could be like. No, that would be the opposite. Never mind. But
sorry,
yeah, it's showing how the
I've
the
just seen
crest
that
progresses.
the opening behind the eye separates.
that seems to be another change there.
That's
That's
interesting because
interesting.
you can see there's a connection in the very bottom skull in that figure.
Yeah.
And then it thins and then it just disconnects when it
I
gets to
only
the top.
kind of skimmed this paper. I don't know if they talk about changes like that. That's the infratemporal fenestra.
Yeah, I was going to call it the monofenestrata group, and then I realized I was only
That's
for
pterosaurs.
pterosaurs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Big hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the other cases of anagenesis in dinosaurs that I found. There's probably others I'm missing.
Finally.
You wanted to look at that paleo art of the new.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
please.
Just look for Daspletosaurus.
Yeah, I've already been looking. Just go on images.
Is it up there? This one.
No.
That one.
That's really nice.
That one.
Oh,
Oh,
that's,
this was teased on Twitter. I
yeah,
remember
no,
seeing.
both of them were. That's recent on
Yeah.
Twitter as well, but that is really nice.
So this is by
Okay.
Rudolf Hema. I love that.
That is
I
lovely.
love the lighting there.
Yeah. Oh, you got a little one there
Four
as well.
Tyrannosaurs. Oh yeah, in the background you can see it. Oh, Centrosaurus as well. Nice. Another anagenetic. lineage,
Yeah.
Possibly. Oh, I love that.
He's so distinguished.
So they've exposed the teeth.
Yeah, I
They
mean, well,
have, yeah. That's sort of, you can go either way.
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
days.
but
It's-
it's still really
That's the choice.
nice. It's a
Yeah.
balding tyrannosaur.
Yeah, oh, I do like the filaments there. That's a nice touch. Andrei Atuchin. They get him to do a lot of paleo art for
Do you know who did
new things these days.
this paleo artist? Do you know what else he did? He
Mm.
did Dr. Martill, Dr. Roy Smith, and Longrich's Chem Plesiosaur
Oh yes.
Oh, nice.
remember.
artwork.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can see the keratinization around the eye.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
That is really nice. And like the large scales here.
Yeah, that's
Is
good
a
as well.
nice touch.
Yeah, a lot of
I like that
attention to detail
because
to
was
that.
it Cars
Yeah.
paper? They showed that texture. I know they were outlining the
Yeah.
texture around the face, but I felt like paleo art should show subtle, so it's not harsh scales. But you can, if you
Well,
look close enough, they're still there.
Witten's done a good job on Tyrannosaur.
Yes.
facial structure.
Did you ever?
Mm.
If you want to bring up Witten's artwork he did on where he's ripping off the ceratopsian skull.
That's so metal.
Oh, yeah.
I
Is
love
it
that
that one?
Yeah.
No,
No. That's the one where it's got the sauropod in its mouth.
No, it's one where it's like literally in bits and it's all.
This.
That one.
Is
Look
it?
at that.
Oh, there's a different one I was thinking of.
Quite graphic.
He wants to be
Very nice
his
though.
artwork. He wants to make it more graphic now. But look
Yeah.
at that.
This was for a study, right? Where they calculated it could just sort of rip off or bite through.
Yeah, just.
I know
Right.
the one where it had the sauropod in its mouth was for the paper, the big paper on disproving Paul's
Yeah, see-
work.
Ceratopsians think their frill is for protecting the back.
No,
of
it's
the neck.
for the
No,
it's for the Tyrannosaurus.
for the
it's for
Tyrannosaurus, it's a
Tyrannosaurs.
handle.
Oh, is this the fossils? Yeah.
We've
Yes.
had a few paleo art sessions with
Yeah,
Witten. He's a really nice guy.
yeah. I really enjoyed those. I really appreciated what goes into it.
Hmm.
A lot of
Yeah,
work.
so oh, he's a brilliant paleo artist, honestly.
Oh, I love his pterosaur work. It's probably some of my favorite artworks.
But yeah, that kind of summarizes all the anagenesis stuff I wanted to talk
Hooray.
about. There's still a lot more news,
Sclerocormus.
so I kind of wanted to talk about this.
Did we not talk
uh,
about this?
I talked about it in 7 Days of Science, but it wasn't out by the time we did the
Oh yes.
previous episode. which was a
They
while
always
ago.
release papers on like Thursdays. They love a Thursday.
Yeah.
And you do it on a Wednesday.
They know that
Yeah. I
7
bet
Days
if
of
you
Science is a Wednesday.
I
so we
bet
have
if
to
you
stop.
moved it, they'd change the papers as
They-
well.
Yeah, they do this deliberately,
Yeah.
definitely. But yeah, so as an ichthyosaur fan myself, currently working on an ichthyosaur for my dissertation project
I think I said
at university.
Apologies, did I say it wrong? I've just realised. I call it Sclerocormus.
Sclerocormus.
Sclerocormus. Sclerocormus
Oh,
is the
Sclerocormus is the
pterosaur, yeah.
pterosaur ancestor, yeah.
Get them off your brain, Hamza.
It's confusing. But yeah, so basically this is quite exciting for people into ichthyosaurs like myself. They've described, so ichthyosaurs are within a larger grouping called ichthyosauriforms, which, yeah, includes like their supposedly terrestrial ancestors, although there's not a lot that's been found of
Yeah,
ichthyosaur
they
terrestrial
they
ancestors.
rapidly went marine. Like
Yeah, it seems like
rapidly.
they like straight, and this paper talks about that as well. Straight after the Permian Triassic extinction, which is the biggest mass extinction in the history of life, except Boydell.
yeah. Yeah, can we?
Yeah. Anyway,
current
um,
lectures.
yeah, we've had some lectures about it, and it's really interesting talking about like how you can overemphasize extinction events and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was big. A lot of things died out, but it seems like marine reptiles such as ichthyosaurs and ichthyosauriforms particularly like did really well immediately in the aftermath and recovered very, very fast. And this new paper talks about that because they've described this quite nice new fossil of
Oh, wow.
a pretty weird ichthyosauriform called
Where's it from?
Sclerocormus from China. It is early Triassic of China. They probably say the formations. Keywords and materials.
I should say in the results as well.
I don't know if I want to.
Magician Quarry.
Yeah,
Apologies for
yeah,
the
I'm not-
pronunciation.
I started reading it and I realised I made a mistake.
yeah. I'm not going to attempt that.
Mei
But from that
Shan
quarry,
Quarry?
Oh, I don't know.
yeah, in China. But yeah, so basically, what they've realized, Sclerocormus was already known before, but this is like a nice new specimen of it that adds a lot more anatomical characters.
And colours.
I really like this figure. It's really
No,
good.
they've done
Yeah,
the figure
that's cool.
brilliantly.
Nice,
it reminds me a lot of Meg's work, where she like
Yeah.
outlined and color coded a lot of the
Oh, it's always a good idea to do that.
ichthyosaur
It makes
bones.
it so nice to have stuff like that. But yeah, so Sclerocormus is actually quite closely related to another weird early ichthyosauriform called Cartarincus.
I remember learning about that one.
Yeah.
Include
Both shown
image.
here.
Wait,
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's just look up Cartarinchus quickly because
Wait,
it
what?
is brilliant.
No, I've got the image of you eating
Oh,
Cartarinchus.
yeah, there's that as well. All right, you can add that if you want. Here we go. Here's Cartarinchus. I love it. It's tiny. Sclerocormus is actually quite big. It's like 1.5 meters, and then Cartarinchus is tiny.
oh,
Weird little thing.
Oh my gosh, it's hands.
Yeah.
is that?
Um.
Oh no! Oh
It is very
no!
odd. But yeah, basically, this new paper, they've realized that a lot of features of Sclerocormus and also Cartarinchus are quite similar to this other mysterious grouping of marine reptiles called the Omphalosaurids, which for a while were sort of suspected to maybe be ichthyosauriforms, or what was it, placodonts, not
Placodonts, yeah.
placoderms, and
Yeah, it's a bit late.
Rhynchosaurs were another suggested as being possibly related to these Omphalosaurids. This new paper, it basically proves that actually Omphalosaurids are definitely basal ichthyosauriforms related, as you can see here, quite closely to Cartarinchus and Sclerocormus.
Oh yeah, in between them.
Yeah, so Sclerocormus and Cartarinchus were classified together in an ichthyosauriform group called Nosorostra. That has now been synonymized with Omphalosauridae because this was named first, and they realized it's the same members that would be included in it. So Nosorostra no longer exists. It's now Omphalosauridae instead, according to this paper.
Makes them all ichthyosaurs.
Yeah, and they're all ichthyosauriforms.
Wait, there's two in the day.
Yeah, the really cool thing is their like mouth anatomy, because they have these really like durophagus
Yeah.
teeth. There's some of the
Oh,
dental histology.
Well, I mean,
It's in the
Triassic
teeth.
ichthyosaurs were so diverse.
Yeah, when
And
you
these
got
aren't
to
even,
like
like-
what Shonisaurus and Chasaurus,
Yeah.
they
Yeah, I mean they're more derived than this. These aren't
Massive
even proper
heights.
ichthyosaurs yet. But one of the
reminds me a lot of the Pycnodon.
Looks like it's got Skittles in it.
yeah, it does. Yeah, so they CT scanned it and got this, found there were actually Skittles in there.
Taste the rainbow.
But yeah, no, they weirdly enough find that there's like they've got sort of like pointy bit at the front and like a beak anatomy, and they think there could be some turtle-like keratinous beak covering to the
I can't
front.
remember hearing about this.
Yeah, and then at the back they've
Who
got
else
all
has
these
seen
really
this?
durophagus, like hard shell item crushing adapted teeth,
That sounds familiar.
like your thing.
Yeah.
Um,
That sounds very
It's
familiar.
not a croc, Hamza.
yeah, but it basically just shows that Omphalosaurids were another lineage of early diverging ichthyosaur relatives, and also marine reptiles and ichthyosauriforms in particular were really really diverse straight after the mass extinction.
They must have surely started before, like, at the end of the Permian.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. It would be cool if you could find a Permian ichthyosauriform
Yeah.
because they immediately like come out of nowhere straight away and get to like giant sizes and super diverse. So
Well, if you're thinking
Yeah.
they probably filled in the niche of like we want to try and get as big as we can or as diverse as we
Yeah.
can
But they-
right after the
yeah.
extinction
But
event.
they had to come from something.
Yeah.
It's just weird. That's crazy. But yeah, I guess this paper's just exploded by diversity of ichthyosaurs.
yeah, ichthyosaurs have a very mysterious origin. It would be really cool to work on that.
Do
Figure
we
out
have-
what
do we have
exactly they're
many-
related to.
Hamian rocks around these areas.
I don't know. It might just be a question of those rocks.
You
whenever
might have to look in
preserved
like America or something for that.
Maybe,
Isn't
yeah.
isn't South Africa
South
quite
Africa.
good for they're
or...
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's a lot of a terrestrial record.
Did
there,
you try
but-
when you were in there?
I didn't look for ichthyosaurs. No, we were always in terrestrial deposits. Yeah,
What, a
another.
terrestrial ichthyosaur. Where was it?
That's okay. You just led me in very nicely to what I was going to say next. Cartarinchus was actually hypothesized at one point to be semi-terrestrial because it has highly unossified flippers, a low dorsal vertebral count, and quite weak eyesight,
Oh right.
which they thought might mean it had evolved from something that very recently become aquatic, to then sort of revert back
Ah.
to semi-terrestriality. But this new paper says
A Kikitania condition.
yeah, but this paper argues against that, saying that the flippers, unossified flippers, are also present in the fully aquatic basal taxon Chauhusaurus, and the number of vertebrae in Cartarinchus
Isn't
actually
there a-
overlapped with other aquatic
Oh right.
Haley
reptiles.
of Mark Whitten's he did of
of Cartarinchus
Cartarinchus,
being
yeah.
semi-terrestrial. I
Yeah.
believe so. Let me just go back to that. But yeah, turns out it.
You could just press
probably was
the
not.
back button.
Oh well. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's
Oh.
actually terrestrial here, but this is probably not likely. Turns out, according to this. No, skip those.
Skip. There it
Here we
is.
go. All that.
Actually, is it alive?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a little bit stuck, but yeah, they thought it was.
I swear it's meant to be on land.
Yeah, the idea was it had these very sort of still quite flexible
Yeah.
flippers and not too many vertebrae, and that was evidence for being possibly semi-terrestrial. But this new paper says. So there we go. That's basically
Cool.
my Ichthyosaur.
Yeah, no, I remember
run
finding that.
done.
That was quite interesting.
What news did you want to cover?
Oh, let's see
Next.
what's on the list.
We've got
Oh, yeah,
temnospondyls.
temnospondyls.
You want to do that one?
Yeah, we could talk a bit
Alright.
about this.
I didn't really read this one too much, so if you want to discuss it,
Yeah. Well, you can go back onto the notes bit.
do you want to look at my phone so I can
Ooh,
show
I'll have a
There
look
you
at
go.
that because I made some notes
you
on it
did
earlier.
make some notes.
Yeah, we mentioned temnospondyls like very, very briefly last episode.
Yeah.
When we talked about amphibians,
There's some
and
nice
these are
figures
like
here. Cool.
super amphibians.
Oh wow!
I like this.
Oh yeah. So that's yeah. You got Eryops there, and
Nice.
these are the
It's Perry the platypus at the very top. The very top.
Oh my god.
yeah. So those are some of the 3D models they made for it.
Yeah.
But basically, temnospondyls, these highly successful amphibian group, they're around for like 200 million years. They were up until basically like the Cretaceous, all the way from the like Carboniferous, and yeah, they're very cool.
Let's look at Eryops.
But basically, I mean, yeah, it's a bit contentious at the moment, but they don't have an extant descendant, right?
Big chungus.
They don't.
Except maybe less
We're not
amphibian.
listen- okay.
But that's the whole thing.
But even then, even if they do have any extant relatives, they're gonna
Yeah,
be
they're
wildly
not-
different.
they're not on
from
the same scale,
how
are they?
You can't really use them to compare. And obviously, so this paper is looking at the body size, body mass for them, which is yeah, they're chunky boys. Really important for looking at their physiology,
Mm.
ecology, and evolution. Because I mean, how did they get to such sizes, and how did they sort of support themselves? What were they doing? So it's really important. And when it comes to working out the size of extinct vertebrates, there's so many methods. I mean, we've all read so many papers where it's like, there's hundreds of methods, surely. And while a lot of them are good, problem is not many actually compare methods.
Right. Oh, so this is sort of.
Yeah, so this
Assessing
method, this
different
actually uses
methods and-
two different methods.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so the two temnospondyls they look at are the Permian Eryops megacephalus.
That's this one.
Yeah, so that's a really well-known temnospondyl,
Eryops.
highly successful and very terrestrial.
Hmm.
But they also
And
look at the
other one is-
Triassic Paracyclotosaurus davididae, which is extremely rare. It's only known from one specimen, and get
Really?
this right, it's a natural mold.
Uh-huh.
Is this a cast? What is this?
Yeah, it's a
That's
cast.
not.
Basically,
Wait, type in holotype.
Would it not show it here?
no. So basically, right,
Oh, it's
it was
huge,
found
though.
in a
Damn.
yeah, it's big. It was found in an ironstone nodule, and it's a natural mold. But because of
Huh.
how well preserved the nodule is, for the past 40 years, they made an absolutely fantastic cast of it. So it's basically
I don't
like
know images of it online.
I haven't seen any images of the actual nodule. I think they're just going to show the cast, but the
Right.
casts are really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So moving on. So obviously, there's no single living taxon that is actually unambiguously analogous to temnospondyls, but the methods they use are extant scaling. So that's sort of like looking at living animals that might have been similar, obviously not related, but they look at salamanders,
Yeah,
crocs.
I saw it said Crocodylus porus, so the saltwater crocodile. So
Oh,
Yeah.
they compared. Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, they look at crocs as well. I mean, for some reason,
Yeah.
though, they don't use a fully grown croc in the study.
wait.
Oh,
So I don't really know. I don't really get that, but it's whatever. They also use volumetric density. And
that's what this figure's showing then.
yeah. So they.
Really.
I actually read a lot into that. It kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. Like, yeah, once you sort of read it a few times over, yeah, you start to get into your head.
Yeah.
I do love a good bit of maths and paleontology. Yeah. So they acquire these linear equations, which have been worked out for these living specimens already. They look at the aquatic and terrestrial salamanders, such as Andreas japonicus and Andreas davidianus, and Ambystoma trigonum. They also look at a newt, Pterygosaurus, and Crocodylus prorsus.
Mm.
So that's a lot of extant specimens to
is.
look at. So yeah, they use salamanders for limb dimensions and because of their tails. So their tails are very similar to temnospondyls. But they also use crocs because of their skulls, how robust and large they are.
Mm.
And also for the femur. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, Eryops is much more terrestrial than Paracyclotosaurus, but that's fine. So they made these 3D skeletal meshes, which I think we
these
showed
things.
earlier on screen.
Yeah.
And basically what they did is they worked out, so they gave them those coverings, right? Essentially drew an outline over the dorsal and lateral views, and then they worked out the elliptical areas of each bit.
Mm.
So and then they averaged them, and then they multiplied it by the length in pixels
Right.
to give the volume of the silhouette region, and then you divide the pixel length by centimeter length to give volume, then by the specific gravities of amphibians, crocs, and neutral to make the lower, middle, and upper estimates. So obviously neutral specific gravity is just 1, but for amphibians it's 1.05, and then for crocs is 1.06.
Okay.
So and obviously that's going to change the actual mass. Yeah, and they used 4 extant scaling algorithms for salamanders. That's for the extant scaling side of it. And basically the size estimates they came out with, they've got quite wide ranges.
Mm.
Obviously this is the first time it's ever been done, so it's very early science. We hopefully can refine it later. But Eryops comes out as between 102 kg to 222 kg. And then Paracyclotosaurus comes out between 159 kg and 365 kg.
Wow.
So they are
huge.
Yeah, those are huge.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily expect Eryops to be that heavy.
It's
Like it.
quite large. But
I mean, yeah, no, it's pretty large.
yeah, I had a look. It's quite interesting to read it because
They actually, oh sorry, just noticed on the Wikipedia they actually noted down the estimates.
oh yeah,
Is this a new study? Oh yeah, new
yeah
study.
they have
cited.
new study.
Nice.
Wikipedia's
Well done,
showing how quick it
Wikipedia.
is.
Did that quick.
Yeah, they are very quick. They are.
Yeah.
But no, it's just interesting to see because you don't know how it could be applied later. Like, what if it could be applied to Coolosuchus, which is a very famous
Oh, yeah.
temnospondyl.
That'd be cool. I mean,
And
there's not a lot known of it.
Obviously, like
unfortunately.
this doesn't just apply to temnospondyls because I feel like so it mentions how not many studies actually compare body mass calculations, and so I'm hoping in the future when more papers work out body size, they don't just use this one equation. Now, obviously, it can be
Yeah.
hard because material varies, and some methods are only going to be used for certain things, so that'll vary. But it's just cool to see, and obviously, like that shows how huge these amphibians could get. Like, I mean, they're dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, Eryops is pretty scary.
Yeah,
It is a very cool animal.
yeah.
Nice. That is a nice study. Oh,
Mm.
sorry.
It wasn't too long
I
either.
might.
To be fair, which is
Um,
always nice.
Yeah. What else? Was there something you wanted to talk about, or was that not necessarily? Oh, sorry. I just remembered the other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh no, we've got to talk about the new Dromaeosaur.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
That
we
is
have.
cool.
to.
I haven't actually read the whole
And,
paper. I read a bit like
I've seen the
abstract.
paleo
I can
art
do a
and it's-
quick summary of
sorry,
it.
I've seen the paleo art
Also-
and it's amazing.
Oh yeah. Also the new turtle, Leviathan Achilles. And I did want to mention. Do you know there's a new ornithopod from Hatzeg?
Really?
Yeah. Transylvanosaurus. It's called.
Nice name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a bit about that.
I can briefly summarize those because I read those papers.
Mm.
And then you had something you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about?
It was just on the conversation
It's
of
not news.
fun. Yeah, so
It's
it's
not
not new news. It's back in 2021, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not new at all.
on the discussion earlier today, we were talking about evolution and how organisms could go from like cladogenesis or allogenesis. Those are the terms.
Yeah.
I did a little digging around because a video can't be done without looking at I have to look at a crocodile at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I actually did look at a really interesting one. If you want to bring it up, it's called environmental drivers of.
This might sound bad. Sorry.
Yeah, it's called environmental drivers of body size evolution in crocodile line archosaurs.
Well, in one of our modules, we've been looking at proxies a lot, haven't we?
So this actually ties in with, as Eddie just said, one of our modules where they looked at oxygen isotopes. This is a paper by Benton, Michael J. Benton,
Wait.
and
Oh,
is that Maximilian Stockdale?
yeah, looks like it.
Oh, Hams, have you seen all the?
Yeah, there's some correction.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, okay, probably,
Uh-oh.
but
Do not warrant. Okay, it doesn't warrant a formal
Yeah,
correction,
alright.
but. Oh.
Alright,
Are we,
anyway.
are we
What
allowed to
happened
talk
there?
about this, Hamza?
anyway, so I made a few notes and I actually find this really interesting.
Got some nice figures.
Oh, hey, a mosasaur.
So if you want to quickly
Oh yeah.
quickly go down 2 figures. This one. So this is what I found really interesting. So they think that the reason why crocodiliforms are, like I said earlier, they are extant. So they're living day crocodiles and including their relatives, but after the Triassic period. So crocodilomorpha are like the Cephiniasuchians. So they are the running abnormal crocodiles. They are in the group of crocodilomorpha, but like saltwater crocodiles, Deinosuchus.
Dinosaurs is living. Oh, was it?
Yeah, you confused me then. I was just like, when did it come back? Deinosuchus, just some of the really famous crocodiles, prehistoric ones, they come under crocodiliforms. But these two paleontologists think that the distribution of ecology of extant crocs was actually controlled by environmental factors such as temperature. And they go on to say that whenever the temperature spiked, so it's up probably after extinction events, or when sea levels actually went down, increased, and when what else they said?
Transgressions.
Yeah, so they said
I've been reading a lot about sea level changes.
That's pretty cool.
I
Yeah,
looked
so-
into it for a Towson as well.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah.
sorry, apologies. They said. So
Anything, huh?
regression analysis show warmer environment factors are associated with high evolutionary rates and large body size. So when you go to the Paleogene and the late Cretaceous, it spikes in diversity. So I think there was
There's no spike in the
if you
Paleogene.
go up,
Up. The other one.
yeah, the paper above,
Oh yeah, okay, there we go.
the relative evolutionary rate increases drastically. So, and this is really interesting on some papers saying that in the Cretaceous, as temperatures just increased, the Neosuchians and the Notosuchians, they're incredibly diverse.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a group of Notosuchians, some people may know as Anatosuchus, which is the duck-faced crocodile, Araripiasuchus, which is the running crocodile from the Araripe Basin in Brazil. And there's some just generic Notosuchians, but they increased. So the Notosuchians just shows that they increased drastically in the Cretaceous. And then when you get to the Paleogene, the Cretaceous and Paleogene boundary, of course, the extinction event there. But they increased drastically again because climates were so warm.
Because of a PTM.
Exactly, and they were filling in niches that
Yeah.
other animals couldn't fill in time. So they
Yeah.
already had the body plans ready. But one thing I actually really found interesting about this paper, and this is quite a controversial thing to say, because some people may agree, some people may not. Yeah, they say that crocodiles are actually not living fossils.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they changed so much over
Yeah,
time.
and
They didn't stay
really good
still.
example, and this ties into last week's or the week before's episode, was that so it's called the Lazarus taxon. So
Oh, yeah.
living examples exist despite a long absence from the fossil record, and a really good example is the coelacanth latimeria. So I thought that was a really cool thing just to tie in. So crocs live through the Mesozoic and the Cenozoic, so they are not living fossils, as some people may say, and
Yeah, I mean they changed so much. You see how diverse they used to be.
That spike has
and,
got to be the PTM.
oh,
In-
100%, it
in
has
the
to
right in the
be.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
to be.
Look how much higher it is. Sorry, can you go down to the figure we were looking at earlier? Because is that giant spike and then dip in the Cretaceous? Is that the CT boundary? Is that Cenomanian Turonian?
Oh, it might be.
It-
Or
it
wait,
might-
no, that's
no,
early
no, it's
Cretaceous,
like that's
late.
early Cretaceous you're looking at.
Is this
Grey
is
is
this,
late.
and Cenomanian?
Yeah, so the grey part is
Okay.
the late, and
Yeah.
then white is the early. But
Wait, why is it done?
I think that decrease there is the so when you're in the Jurassic you have all of the marine crocs.
Right.
I think the marine crocs boomed into the, because Metriorhynchidae can actually be found in the early Cretaceous. They went so far advanced into the early Cretaceous that when oceans started to go back down,
Okay.
it gave rise
talking
to
about
the
Thalattosuchians,
Thalattosuchia,
marine
Tethyssuchia,
crocs.
and then below it you have the Goniophylidae, Eusuchia, but Eusuchia. Apologies. Yeah. So Metrincidae, of course, this is what they think. They're saying that the Metrincidae had increased, and then marine climatic shifts started happening, and gave rise to Notosuchia and Neosuchia. So they're the more terrestrial crocs. But that was a slow, gradual decrease until you get to near the boundary of the late Cretaceous. They boomed up again.
Wait, so how do they actually use oxygen isotopes?
So the oxygen isotopes are actually oxygen isotopes were used in the Mesozoic era due to comprehensive temporal range. So there's a very good range of oxygen isotopes in the Mesozoic, so they could date those.
They're using delta 18.
No, I actually don't know. All I remember them they stated oxygen isotope. They probably say it further
Probably
on.
was.
And funny enough, the oxygen isotopes used in the Cenozoic were used from benthic forams. So Ben's favorite.
Yeah.
I've had enough forearms.
Well, yeah, do you prefer benthic or pelagic? Question of the ages.
But they
Pelagic forearms look like popcorn. I enjoy that.
They also taste like
They
popcorn.
did say one thing, and I found really interesting, was that all of this are intrinsic factors. So they're, of course, everything.
They base on the crocs biology.
Yeah.
It's
So
kind of-
everything around them
Mm.
affected them from getting big body
Yeah.
size. So we can actually see that in dinosaur killing crocs, Sarcosuchus, Deinosuchus, and then we can see it later on in the Paleogene with Purosaurus.
Mm.
So
that is a cool croc.
yeah,
Oh,
I thought I'd
Cayman,
just
right?
What?
Purosaurus?
yeah, it's a Cayman.
Cayman.
It's a big Cayman, yeah. So I thought
Sorry, I
I'd
didn't
just
know what you
sneak that
said.
in quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other extra papers, weren't there, that I know a little bit about.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about the new dinosaur if
This
you
is
want to
how
hear
you
about
go
that.
on.
This is the Hatzenberg one.
Yeah, so how do you pronounce the place? Hatzen?
I'd
You
say
said weirdly,
Hatzenberg.
Hatzeg Basin. Because there's a weird symbol there. I don't know what it is. I just say Hatzeg Basin.
Yeah, I've always said
I'm only
Hatzeg.
going over what the professors say.
Yeah, but where's
Apologies.
the berg in it? There's no berg in there.
Yeah, so Neornithopod
Basin.
dinosaur from Hatzeg, however you say it, from Romania. Transylvanosaurus platycephalus. And it's a rhabdodontid, which is a kind of iguanodontian ornithopod.
Dalmoxes.
Yeah, so that's the really interesting thing. They say how why it's not loading the figures?
Prehistoric planet.
Yeah. So before this, they said there's quite diverse rhabdodontid remains from the formation, and before this, it had all been referred to this genus Zalmoxes, which featured in Prehistoric Planet recently.
That it got eaten.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
That
Was
was
that the one by Beelzebufo, or was that?
No, those were
was-
Machikosaurus.
Hatzegopteryx.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, okay.
but now they've got these new remains, so they've got these paired frontals and a bacy.
I'm not a
Basicranium.
huge fan of that material, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but they say it differs a lot from the Zalmoxes material that was only known from here. So they name a new genus and species. Yes, the uppermost Cretaceous, early to late Maastrichtian, quite near the boundary between the lower and upper parts of that stage. So this adds to the diversity that you find in the Hatzeg Basin, which is quite cool. Here's the articulated basicranium. I wrote down the exact bones, but I don't think anyone's going to be interested in hearing those names.
I am.
There's quite. I'll read them out if you want.
Yeah, go on.
Basioccipital, exoccipital, opisthotic complexes, the basisphenoid, parasphenoid complex, the prootic, and the laterosphenoid.
I'll see if I know where some of them are.
Yeah.
I know some of them from Ichthyosaur anatomy, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I know something from Skull, not me, so.
And then these are the frontals, paired frontals. One of the interesting features that differentiates it from other rhabdodontids is how wide they are. Apparently, that's quite unique in this.
Sorry,
and then
how wide?
wide? They're very
Okay.
wide frontals, apparently.
Hmm.
And a lot of features of the basic cranium are very different. But it also has quite typical basic cranial morphology of rhabdodontids, which is how it can be classified as that. The interesting thing is it complicates rhabdodontid paleobiogeography. if that's
Where do the
anyone's
rhabdodontids
interest.
place phylogenetically? Are they after
They're-
iguanodontians, or are they?
They are
before?
basal iguanodontians.
So they're basal. So
Yeah.
does that include the? Is it Camptosaurus from?
Um,
the other one? 'Cause I
so
know
Rhabdodontomorpha includes Muttaburrasaurus, which
Oh.
people might be
Oh,
familiar with,
really?
and then Rhabdodontids are within Rhabdodontomorpha. So yeah, they're quite medium sized. It says quite small things. Rhabdodontids are. Muttaburrasaurus is huge.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty small, I'd say.
The nasal opening on that thing is huge.
I could talk a lot. I've been doing some research on it for a certain video series that everyone comments about, and I will get to soon.
What
But-
series is that, then?
Well, yeah, what is
What
it?
series
then?
is
I
that?
know. What does Muttaburrasaurus famously feature in?
Museums.
I'll probably. I'll leave that up for you to
Dinosaur
decide.
Train.
Um,
Everyone's waiting for that series.
Yeah. So, hang on. Let me just see if there's some good reconstructions of this, because yes, I'm reviewing the accuracies of Dinosaur Train. You are correct.
Firstly,
Can
there
we
were
actually
those
do
steam
that?
engines.
Can we actually?
Oh my god, that's adorable! Look at it.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Oh,
one.
Hatzigopteryx.
That's
in the
not
background.
Hatzigopteryx.
No, this is a Transylvania. No, we're not looking at that.
Crocodile.
That is pretty cool, but in the
Oh my
background.
gosh, that's so nice.
Yeah, this is
Who's the
this
artist?
is Transylvanosaurus.
No.
Uh,
Just click on it, see who it is.
Peter Nikolaus. Never heard of them.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Ignore that.
Oh yeah, look at these size things. So it's like a cat.
Yeah, it's very small. It's a
Have you not
small
seen? Did you not see the fossil in the guy's hand?
Oh, there
one.
we go.
That's nice showing it.
Oh my gosh.
But
Yeah,
my
so
hands will look bigger.
so there it is.
Oh my gosh, that is such a nice paleo art.
The interesting
Yeah.
thing is, so the previous idea was that rhabdodontid lineages, there were two distinct ones in Europe. There was a Western European one, which includes Rhabdodon and another genus called Paracyclotosaurus. It's from southern France and northern Spain. And then Eastern European lineage, which includes Moclodon, which I love that name. It's really cool. Moclodon is found in Austria and Hungary. And then Zalmoxes from Romania. But Transylvanosaurus is actually found to be closer to Rhabdodon from France. So it challenges the idea of geographically
Yeah.
distinct, separate lineages of rhabdodontids.
That's interesting because wasn't Transylvania known as an archipelago
Yeah, so
basin?
it
So
represents an island
So
anyway.
what in the same place, same time, you've got an Eastern European rhabdodontid and a Western European.
Or so this it's from more Eastern Europe, but then it's most closely related to a Western European one.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what I'm saying.
interesting.
Like, so you got.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's quite interesting.
is that sauropod? I can't remember its name. Is it
Oh, what?
Megaeosaurus? Megaeosaurus?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the dwarf one.
Yeah.
But yeah, interestingly, I didn't realize it says in the paper it's the first new dinosaur described from the Hatteg Basin for more than a decade.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Been that long
What was the
before we
last
had
one?
something. I don't know. Was it Bala Bondok? I looked at that and it was described in the 2010s. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a while apparently.
That's a really. I'm not gonna. I really like that paleo art. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Do you
that
know,
one.
Do you know what it reminds
covered.
me of? It just reminds me of some nice, just old John Civic work where it's just
Oh,
I
like
love his
staring directly at
colours,
the
just
camera as well.
the colours,
John
just
Civic's still
everything.
around?
It's so
Yeah.
nice.
On
Okay.
the Isle of Wight.
Oh, cool.
Lives on the Isle of Wight.
Sorry, what did you say?
I was just asking if he was still around.
Yeah, he did Bryce Donis as well. He did Bryce
Really? I
Donis.
didn't see that.
Switch it.
Okay, so what we got? What
Um,
papers we got now?
Yeah, so quickly just want to cover.
a buzz.
do you wanna
through some
do-
of them?
We can
Yeah.
leave the Protochampsid.
Okay. Do you want me to cover the turtle and then we can all discuss the new Dromaeosaurid because that's pretty cool. I know. Okay, so for some reason Hamza has a irrational fear of turtles.
It's not irrational. I
They
just
are not
don't
scary.
like turtles. Have you
What's
seen a
wrong with them?
Have you seen a snapping turtle?
Yeah, this isn't a snapping turtle.
No, it's
it's
a giant
one.
one.
I'm prone accident already. I don't want to be near a giant snapping turtle.
There's nothing wrong with turtles. They're adorable, and only sometimes give you salmonella, right?
What?
When are you
Nothing.
eating turtles?
No, hang on. I swear they do.
Can turtles give salmonella?
If not cooked properly.
Yeah, contaminated with salmonella. They carry it on the shell.
Why did you not just? I'm not going to say it.
Oh, they're poisonous.
Anyway, so don't lick turtles. Basically, is the message of this episode.
You can put them in your freezer, your fridge.
No, don't.
You
kill
know,
the
no, they have to
turtles.
hibernate. Yeah, if you have to hibernate
Oh.
turtles, you can put them in the fridge.
Yeah,
You
but
mean-
if I get
do you mean
confused,
Bruno?
like late night 3am snack? Pet
Oh
turtle.
my god!
Next turtle, next morning, and you go hospital.
Oh, no.
Do not lick turtles.
Yeah, don't. Ignore him.
This is a
Ignore Eddie.
don't lick the turtle. Anyway, they will not do
wrong
good
with them?
things to you. They did not. Well, maybe they licked this turtle. I don't know. It probably wouldn't. Would be okay if it's a fossil
Yeah.
turtle.
Well, you
hang
can
on.
relick
Did we
fossils.
not lick a turtle shell in the Bolner video?
Oh.
I hope it wasn't turtle. Oh dear.
Play the clip.
That must be why you were feeling so ill last night.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. But anyway, here's the material. It's not particularly complete, but it is a giant new marine turtle from southern Pyrenees, but northern Spain, right?
Okay.
Okay.
The question is it bigger than Archelon?
That's the thing. So I've made some notes about certain measurements. So the maximum width of the pelvis of Leviathan Acalis, it's called, is 88.9 centimeters, whereas in Archelon it's 81 centimeters. So wider pelvis, but then the length of the pubis is slightly smaller.
It's fairly closely related to it, isn't it?
It's actually not related. No. So Archelon and Protostega are, perhaps not surprisingly, protostegids, and their placement among turtles is sort of a bit of a mystery. They're like, no one's really sure where they fit. But then this new one, Leviathan Acalis, is a basal chelonioid.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Don't they compare them to leatherbacks?
yeah, so it's a lot more closely related to modern sea turtles, modern sea turtle groups, than Archelon and Protostega are. So Archelon and Protostega were the biggest known ones, and they're both from North America. Absolutely huge. Should we find some images of them?
Is
Let
it?
me
We should,
tab.
is it,
Really cool.
look at if you look
There
up
was
it-
an art of Leviathan Kellis.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah. What the green?
yeah, I think it's some side comparisons with Archelon. I did
Oh, I've
not
not
mean
seen that. That is really
Yeah,
nice.
that's quite cool.
Oh my gosh! Can you please
so
the
real.
You're not
comparison
scared
between
of
a
this?
giraffe?
I'm not sure. This
Oh
is
my
done by the
gosh.
Daily Mail. I'm not sure if this is particularly accurate.
Female's
Yeah.
always right.
I really like
Oh
this.
my
Is the
gosh,
this
look
is
at
the
the
best
fossil.
size comparison
Yeah, it
I've
must be wrong
seen.
because it says average human 5'10", and that's not right.
Teenage
This is-
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
This is the best one. I love this.
Yeah,
So 1.8 meters. That is terrifying. Why are they so tall?
it's a teenager. Well, he's still going.
Hang on. It says. Oh no, my eyes are being weird. I really like
I
that
like this.
photo of the fossil in
Oh,
the field.
That's
Oh,
cool.
is that Nupe?
What?
It looks like his artwork. Josh.
I'm scared of going onto Reddit on him.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
let's not.
I
think it
would
might be.
How did we get
Um,
ichthyosaurs?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
no,
too
it's-
near it.
Can we look at this artwork? This is really nice. The
This.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is really nice.
Who's it by? I did. I think I.
A big
There's a large
image.
turtle. Secret Arts.
It crashed in it.
Yeah, it's a good one. So it's not based on the best material, but you know the size estimates put it as comparable to Archelon and Protostega from the US. Yeah, basal colonioid, and they sort of discuss briefly why this gigantism in marine turtles is happening in Europe, because previously it had only really been seen in
Yeah, if
North
it's in multiple
America.
groups.
Yeah, so they would. I read they don't talk too much about it, which is kind of a shame. I wanted more discussion.
It'd
They
be to
just
do with
say-
the Western Interior Seaway.
Yeah, so that's what they thought. They thought they were like unique sort of pressures because of the Western Interior Seaway, but then why is it happening in this European archipelago, the archipelago of seas? It's like a subtropical sea. I think quite shallow water relatively. And then yeah, they don't know actually what the evolutionary or ecological pressures could be that led to this massive body size. But they point out that studies done on living marine turtles, the body size is related to a combination of environmental factors and ecological ones. So there's like predation pressure, something called competitive release, which is where one of two competing species that are competing for a particular resource disappears, so then the other one can use that resource more.
Huh.
That could have had
It's
some impact on it. Temperature also apparently has a bit of a impact on body size in living turtles, and then migration capacity as well. So yeah, all these interesting factors that could have contributed to this giant body size. And now we've got another one of the largest marine turtles ever, possibly in Europe. So that is that paper.
The whole time.
It is. So yeah,
I really don't know
We've
a lot
been-
about this.
I've been very excited about this one.
J-whole episode.
Oh, it's new news though. We got to
New
quickly
news.
discuss it. New news.
Okay, that confused me then because I was like, wait, hang on. It says 1996.
Wang guy.
Oh, yeah. So very excitingly, I did talk about this in 7 Days of Science, but I said that we'd do some more discussion of it. is the description of a new genus and species
Duralong.
of dromaeosaurid. Dowalong wangi is how I've been saying it.
Duralong wangi.
Dowalong, yeah, I'm not sure. But it's this exceptionally well preserved dromaeosaurid. I mean, look at that fossil. Not great resolution on this image for some reason,
Right.
but it is, yeah, it just preserves
I'm
everything.
guessing that little bit of bone coming off the post-orbital is
That's just a displaced.
it's flattening. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's a bit of a displaced bone there. It's not a crest or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
If they had a crest, then it would be like what?
It'd be like the
Gualong.
no, it'd be the Jurassic World evolution dromaeosaur.
Yeah.
level 40.
Yeah, so it's from the early Cretaceous, the Jehol biota in China.
So Lagerstätte.
It is, however you say that word.
I tried looking up earlier. I don't know if that's still right though.
No idea. And so yeah, they say it's closer to eudromaeosaurs than to microraptorines. So there's like these two lineages. They find it in the Jehol, and it's this one, so the other one. And then the notable thing, I don't know if there's not great figures really showing
Well, they say
the
it's
bluish area.
but I don't really see it.
This kind of stuff. This
Maybe.
don't know.
They should have
It's not-
color coded and outlined. That
Yeah,
would
it's
have
not
been-
particularly clear. That's the sternum. So I think it must be this stuff back here. But yeah, there's this bluish layer of microcrystals, which are actually the remains of the intestinal tract, and so it's formed from where bacteria has like kind of degraded it and then preserved like a cast of the outline of this organ.
Mm.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think. I mean, considering how acidic that environment is,
Yeah,
for that
it's,
to preserve is insane.
it is very lucky. And then, so are you familiar with Scipionyx, which is apparently how you
No.
pronounce that? So it's this incredible Italian dinosaur. I think they still classify
Oh
it.
yeah, I've seen fossils of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've seen the actual thing in Milan. It is insane because
Well-
look at this. Like,
Well, you can kind of see it's similar stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect like
Okay,
preservation of
I can
so
s- I
many
can see it now.
organs. It's really amazing. But it's a lot more basally positioned compared
Mm.
to Dowalong. So I think they
Doesn't help that
Seen-
it's juvenile as well.
yeah, it's uncertain in classification. But in this paper they say it's probably an early diverging Coelurosaur, Coelurosaur, or an Allosauriod. And then Dowalong is obviously a paravian, so it's a lot more derived. So making comparisons between these two is quite interesting because they found the overall layout is really similar in both of them. So they're like, it's different again in birds, but their intestinal digestive system layout is really similar. So using phylogenetic bracketing, you've got this basal theropod, this more derived theropod. You can infer that all theropods in between that would have had very similar layout of the intestine to these two. So that's pretty useful that they've realized that. So yeah, the topography of the gastrointestinal tract, yeah, is very very closely matches Scipionyx, and then doesn't go past the 9th dorsal vertebra. So it stops there, doesn't go any further forwards. And there's this empty region that separates it from the pubis shaft. And so yeah, you can bracket that and probably reconstruct it in a lot of other theropods.
Yeah. Especially
If-
dromaeosaurs for this one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really useful. And they've also used it to show that some apparent egg structures that were interpreted in a specimen of Sinosauropteryx aren't actually eggs. They're actually a bit of the intestine because they look similar to the ones in here.
Damn.
So
Cool.
that's kind of cool. Oh, and there's a frog skeleton next to it, which they don't really talk about.
I would have focused on the frog.
Yeah, they don't
Oh, is that where
mention
there's
it
a
at all.
paleo art of it, like just
Yeah, yeah.
grabbing a frog?
Yeah, so I was gonna say there's some paleo art of Dowalong, where it's eating a frog, and
See, I thought like
here we go.
when I first heard about it, it's like they found a frog in it, but
Yeah, that's
yeah, I
that's
saw
said
the
in
same as well.
in some of the articles. I think it says that, but the frog skeleton is just next to it, so I don't know why.
Ah.
Does
but-
it not
Could have
show
eaten it.
on the specimen where the frog is?
I went through and I searched for a neuron. The imprint of a partial skeleton of an aneuron is preserved in the same slab, adjacent to the theropod metatarsi,
Okay,
next
so
to its toes.
is it number
E.
number?
Oh.
It's just in there somewhere.
Yeah, those pictures. Oh,
There's a
They're
frog
not
there
nice.
somewhere.
yeah,
So yeah, it's not actually eating it, but there are frogs nearby. Why would you not
probably
eat a
stepped
frog?
on it or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a really nice.
Did
New
a
dinosaur.
spectravinated death.
Oh, that was so
just
funny.
my
fallen
God.
on top of by
Yeah.
another animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to cover.
What
talk
paper?
about this. I think we covered all the papers we wanted to, right?
I think I could quick fire a couple of them.
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah.
The others
do you
you
want to
kind
switch
of
back
read.
the screen?
So yeah, another of the news stories I covered in the recent 7 Days of Science episode was this interesting twist to the T-Rex auction of the specimen called Shen, which has now been cancelled because apparently Shen is mostly Stan.
Yes.
So yeah, you know a lot about this. What
Yeah,
what
well,
happened
'cause-
here?
So
I
basically,
think, were we in a lesson when I showed this to you?
no, I found it. I think I saw it beforehand.
I remember I
Yeah,
was in the
so I
lesson.
read
it,
it.
it popped up on my phone. I was like, oh my
yeah,
gosh,
so
wait a
basically,
minute.
when this was first announced on Christie's,
Hmm.
Mr. Larson recognised it looked fairly similar. Now, because they said it's about 54% complete, except what they didn't say is that the rest of it was made up of a cast of Stan, because you
Yeah.
can buy a cast of Stan from Black Hills for like, I don't know, like 10,000, and they're going on to sell this for like 20 odd million.
Is it 25 mil?
I don't know, but
They-
a
I think they're
stupid
saying that.
price, and half of it is a specimen that's already been bloody sold.
But
Yeah,
even if they
expected
do,
to fetch up to $25 million,
Yeah.
£21 million.
but even if they
Wow.
did sell it, most of that money should just go to Larson.
But that's the thing, because it, like, well, yeah, a lot of specimens are casts anyway, but the fact that they didn't
They
state
didn't say that.
they
yeah.
didn't state that.
And then they're
If
selling it
you
as a new
type
specimen.
in Shen the Tyrannosaurus, you have a really nice image
Yeah.
of its like full scale.
Yeah, so obviously it's been taken off of that. We don't know what's going to happen to it next. Who knows? It may never ever
Is it,
appear again.
Yeah,
this
that
one?
one. That
This
one,
one?
the first one.
I doubt they'll
Yeah.
ever use the name Shen again, so we'll never know what.
So it is a real specimen, but only like a very small number of bones, like actually in this, right?
We
Most of it's just been
mentioned-
added to with Stan.
Eddie and myself, we spoke about this. We were like, that's the time frame didn't make
Oh yeah,
sense.
nothing makes sense
Yeah.
about this specimen, right? Because when they first announced it, they were like, so it was first discovered in 2020, and that I can't remember which paleontologists they mentioned had. They said these two paleontologists, one from Manchester and somewhere else, had written papers on it, and it was time for it to go on auction. And I was like, well, this doesn't make sense because I don't remember any T-Rex being discovered in 2020, let alone being discovered, not as in dug up, as in discovered in 2020 and prepared in that
Yeah,
amount,
fully prepped.
and papers written on it.
Yeah.
And I
I think it's Stan. Stan's preparation took 38 years to prepare.
yeah, so it's like
So having Shen been prepared in
it was from Hell Creek.
2
as
years
well.
is insane.
And I looked up the paleontologists they mentioned. I found no papers on Tyrannosaurs, let alone a new one from 2020 on it. So
God.
it was really shady because like that's too quick to find one, and the paleontologists you've mentioned haven't even
It's too quick
like
to write
their
as well.
defense their defense of saying papers have been written on it doesn't make sense because there are no papers on Shen.
Yeah, that is weird you'd make that claim. I mean, you obviously knew that was a red flag straight away,
Yeah.
but I don't know why.
When you told me
Other
how
people
long
didn't.
when they found it, it's like, no,
Yeah,
that's
I
impossible.
was worried a bit at first because I did a lot of digging. I thought it might have been Titus because that was taken off display recently, but luckily Titus, we do know where that was found and that was not the same place, so that's all right with.
And
me.
so they say the owner of it is anonymous, right? No one knows who that is.
usually they're anonymous.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, a very shady specimen overall. I'm glad it's been taken off because I mean,
Yeah.
we may never see Shen again, which is a loss to science, but at least it's not going to drive up the price of other fossils, and it's
Yeah,
going
I
to
think
sort of make them
Shen-
not touch them for a while.
Shen's original bones should be just given to Larson's collection because he figured it out, and
Yeah.
Well, isn't
in
the
retrospect they should be given back.
ownership of Stan not Larson?
No,
now?
'cause
Isn't
Stan
it a bit
sold.
complicated?
No, they
Didn't-
had to
didn't the-
sell Stan because they went bank. One of them
The
went
the
bankrupt.
rights of it changed.
I don't know.
There was something about that.
But yeah, we're very
Yeah.
happy about that.
Overall, it's a good thing that this has happened.
Yeah.
But it's
There's no information on this Tyrannosaur. It's very
yeah,
very weird.
and massive fossil auctions like this.
Never good.
Like-
Wasn't there a juvenile Tyrannosaur that just recently got sold as well?
No, there was a Gorgosaurus
These
sold.
Gorgosaur, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gorgosaurus
Not
sold.
the,
Triceratops. I don't know if that's been
Triceratops-
sold yet.
Yeah, that got sold.
Okay.
Sold for 12 mil.
Oh, big jump.
Hmm.
So
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's like when they're going for this like insane amounts of money, that's just not good.
Yeah, and you read the descriptions by the auction house. It's like, oh, stop.
Yeah.
Like, I read one of them. They used some of the words they used were wrong. Like they tried using like smart words like extant and extinct and descendants.
oh
Like,
yes, Tyrannosaurus is extant.
yeah, they said it
Yeah.
has no extant descendants or something like that. I was like, well,
What?
no. Yeah, no.
That is very odd. Anyway, so yeah, good thing, I guess.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see if it reappears anywhere.
Yeah.
What happens to it?
be nice.
I think they're gonna wait. Like, if I was them, I'd wait a few years just the
Then try again.
then try again. Be like, yeah, we
Yeah.
found
Obviously,
it.
they were trying to turn a profit there,
It's
by
interesting.
shooting a cast and then selling it on.
Yeah. So just to sort of heading towards the end of this episode, wanted to also mention in the previous episode we said we were going to have a trip up to Abingdon near Oxford, where my specimen that I'm studying for my dissertation project. I don't know if we've said we're students, but
Yeah.
we're in our third year of our paleontology undergraduate degrees, so we'll have to produce a dissertation on a certain fossil or project involving fossils. And I'm studying this specimen of Ichthyosaur from the Kimmage Clay Formation, found near a town called Abingdon in Oxfordshire. I say it, Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
And it's got these insane like pathologies on the jawbones, all these really very obvious
Got some really nice
healed bite
images.
marks. Yeah, I can put some of those in post because I don't actually have them right here. But yeah, so we're just going to play some of the videos that we took there. There wasn't too much. There's a bit of just us discussing some of the bite marks, some of the anatomy.
I think we got some photos or a video of Ben and myself actually lifting the museum glass.
Oh yeah.
And you'd expect
It's so
glass to
heavy.
be very light. No,
Well,
it was
Victorian
It's like
glass.
these
Is it
huge
Victorian
pens.
glass?
no. It's modern glass.
Oh, okay.
It's incredibly
I know
heavy.
the stuff in the Natural History Museum is Victorian in age, and it's It's stupidly heavy.
really.
No. This. I found it heavy. I was just like,
Yeah, no, it was
it was
surprising.
really heavy, but it was really cool.
Yeah, it was
it's
fun,
like I
'cause
don't think
it's-
I'll ever get a chance like that in a while to do
I
something.
mean,
like
I
that.
need to go back there and take the glass off again. The thing is, it's on the. It's a really nice museum. It's just where my specimen that I'm studying is on display. It's right at the top, so you have to walk up like how many flights of stairs? There's no lift either.
No,
It goes all the way to the top.
1, 2.
A lot of stairs, so you're exhausted
Oh
when you get to
no.
the top.
Oh.
But yeah, it's in this display case that has these glass panes
8.
over it. A lot of
Yeah.
flights of stairs. And yeah, the museum is only closed on Mondays, and they can't take the glass off unless the museum is closed. So I can only go off on Mondays. Went up on a Monday. I'm gonna have to do it again because I need more measurements.
Ben has
and,
been a pest on
descriptions.
people's
When you-
days off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you think
no, they're
going
really
next?
nice there. Sorry.
When you think they're going next?
I don't know yet. Hopefully,
Maybe over Christmas or something.
yeah. I'll see
considering
if I
how
can
close
organize a
that's
Christmas
getting.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, they have to take put these. You'll see in the video, but like suction
Plunges.
pad things. Yeah, basically onto the glass and then lift it off, and it's very heavy. But we had fun looking at that.
Yeah.
We were unfortunately on a bit of a time limit when we were there, so I need to go again and just spend hours looking at everything. Honestly, but yeah, we'll play that footage now.
No.
This is my ichthyosaur, the Abingdon ichthyosaur, the one I'm studying, and there's a piece of the skull. Just taking some photos of the teeth. And what's really noticeable about it is all of these incredible healed, what I'm assuming are bite marks, that's what we're going with, on its jaws. So here is the premaxilla, here's the dentary, it's in 2 parts. This is the dentary going to the angular and the surangular. You can see on the anterior part of the dentary, there's all of these, so there's probably a bite mark here, a lot of very rugose bone, like bony overgrowth, and then these traces of what probably like how the bone's grown into the blood vessels. And so here on the premaxilla is probably the nicest, or not nice, but most noticeable bite marks. Huge like rugose texture around it, and you can see there's this huge excavation that's just been taken out. And there's a bit on the other side, so this is the right side of the animal, there's the left side, and around here there are some more what seem to be healed bite marks. So yeah, we're just taking measurements of all of this, kind of mapping out where the bite marks are and recording what elements we have in the skull.
So the bottom part, the dentary, went further down the glass. That was where it is there.
Right.
Is this not meant to be on the other side?
I hate photography.
So So measuring the distance between these two bite marks, trying to work out exactly how this animal was bitten. We are assuming they are bite marks. You can pretty much see like striation marks here. So here it looks like it's been bitten going this way, like by an animal with teeth maybe that far apart, or just, you know, the only teeth that contacted it. But then, so this is the lower jaw, this is the upper jaw. They basically line up here. There's another couple marks along here. So if they're all kind of grouped in the same area, so we can probably assume it was the same event that did all this damage.
Or what you could do is, if the distance here is smaller than the distance here, then you can tell that this must be the lower jaw, this must be the upper jaw.
Of the same...
Of the animal that bit it.
Yeah.
But I think otherwise, because these directions, they look like they're going down due to how they looks like a tip hit that corner and just the way the direction of bite is. But this bite mark here is the odd one out, because how curved it is, this looks like the tip is there, so it looks like it's gone up where my finger sits perfectly. But this bite mark here looks like it's going down. So, unless it's a weird chimeric animal that's just got a weird jaw, I have no idea what this bite mark... This looks like it could have been multiple bites, like multiple attacks.
Yeah, I mean, it might not just... It could be multiple bites from the same animal.
What would be amazing if these measurements match up with that?
The bites on the other side?
Yeah, that would be
I'll
amazing.
check those next. I think what I need to do is just check the literature of bites in general and see how we can work out the direction of bite from the marks.
It's going to be a triangle at the end of the day. Wherever the tip is, it's going to be the tip of the crown.
Yeah.
So
Because that does look like it's gone...
it's going up. Yeah. Could you just look at the way it's sprayed up?
It could have impacted here and gone down, taken out a little bit. Thank you.
Oh. I want some cool working photos now.
You take some of
I'll
it.
take some.
The dentures magically disappeared.
What?
I was like, kind of look up while we do it. No, don't like look at me, but look up.
I want to. I'll get down. Oh, you're right. There is fluting on it.
That's model material.
2, 1. Let's put this crawling back.
This was the what?
So this is the one now in here. Sweet. Okay.
And now we're back.
We're back. I love that movie, Dinosaurs. We're back. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's so cool. It's from like the late 90s or something. Anyway, yeah. So the other day, I don't know if some of you might have been following this already, but a YouTube channel by the name of Digital Duck has been working on a documentary on the Agate Springs Formation over in America, which is around the late Oligocene, early Miocene.
Right.
And they released about a year ago a very short sort of snippet, but they've actually got a full trailer now, and it's narrated by hopefully someone some of you will recognize.
Famous.
Yeah,
The brilliant.
yeah, he's a bit of a big
national,
influence on some of
national
us.
treasure,
Yeah.
honestly.
Not David Attenborough.
Nigel Marven.
We're not gonna to not get anyone's hopes up, but yeah,
It's
been a while
Nigel
since-
Marvin, what are you on about?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've had a documentary on the Cenozoic, let alone paleo documentary. So it's really interesting to see something like this, especially focused on just one formation.
Yeah.
Because generally a lot of people mix and match things into a certain time. But yeah, let's have a look because I've seen it and you guys have not.
I've been vaguely aware of this happening, but I haven't seen the trailer yet. And you haven't.
No, I haven't seen it.
either,
I've been
so-
waiting for today.
Is it lined up all right on the screen with the video? We can add it in after if it's not. Okay. So let's have a watch. It's quiet. Is that registering or not?
This is Agate Springs, 20 million years ago, the beginning of the Miocene epoch. This savanna will one day become the Badlands of Nebraska. Not long ago, these plains were lush and heavily forested, nurtured by volcanic ash spread by wind and rain. But as the global climate begins to shift, conditions are becoming increasingly arid.
Cold house climate.
This brings hardship for the native fauna. It's now the peak of the dry season, and a small group of stenomylus gather around what remains of
Wow,
a
it does look
rapid
nice.
That looks really good.
animal.
This is a
Despite
YouTuber.
appearing similar to antelope, the lanky herbivores are actually an early form of camel. These relict puddles provide a lifeline for all manner of animals. This also makes them an ideal hunting ground for predators. Daodon, one of the few animals that benefits from the harsh conditions of the dry spell.
Sort of like the
This
boss music in the
individual
background.
is
Yeah.
a male,
It's so nice.
only having recently left the care of his mother. But he's already a formidable hunter.
I love how enthusiastic Nigel Marvin
Weakened
always
from
sounds.
heat
Yeah.
and focused
Great.
on water,
So good
the
to hear his voice
Stenomylus
again.
Yeah.
should be easy prey. If he can catch one, that is.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, I
That
think I've
is
seen this clip.
amazing.
Sorry, what was that?
That I swear I've seen that shot. Was
Yeah,
that
They
what
used a
was
similar
released?
one in the teaser.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It does look really good though.
Yeah.
But it seems even a weakened.
Did you see one of them
type
jumping up and
Yeah,
down like a
the one just
gazelle?
galloping.
in
Yeah.
straight chase. Only 1 out of every 10 hunts is likely to be successful. His hunger will drive him to try again, and an animal of his size must feed soon.
You know, it'd be cool to see if it does a bit of omnivory.
Nice.
Obviously, like, well, we do have evidence for carnivory and Daedon. It'd be nice to
Yeah.
see a little bit of a
Oh, we like
That's
that.
awesome.
I'm excited.
yeah. I'm gonna Kickstarter.
Oh, so there's a
starts soon.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Nice. Make sure you go and support that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know much about this project. I don't know much about the formation either. So that'd be
No, I read a little bit about it after
Yeah.
seeing this, but
that's gonna be so
yeah,
cool.
it looks really cool. Can't wait for that.
So they're still looking for support to
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
fully done.
I
Nice.
don't know when, if eventually, I don't know when it will eventually be done, but if a Kickstarter's dying,
Yeah,
soon next year, hopefully.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Get what
exciting.
it needs.
Yeah, we need more like independent projects like this of paleo media. I mean, we're gonna get so many documentaries.
Oh yes,
soon, it
after
seems
the
like.
prehistoric plan, we're gonna get
Yeah.
another golden age.
Oh,
Next
we
10
really
years.
That's gonna be great. They always come in
Yeah. well,
in
please.
groups, don't they? That is gonna be great.
Yeah, but it's just nice to see something based on a specific formation because obviously you'll see some documentaries and they'll stick an organism that might be a bit older or a bit younger in it to like help with the narrative. But obviously this is just
Yeah.
one
Vamp
thing.
it
So
up a bit.
they did live at the same time.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Have they said how many episodes there'll be or anything?
I think
or-
there's 3
okay.
15-minute episodes.
Oh wow, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think that is pretty much everything we wanted
Cover,
to
yeah.
cover. Yeah, we should have an exciting episode next, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
All things going to plan. We didn't really want to say what it is, just in case things don't work out, but it should be fine, and so we should have a really exciting episode. Yeah, again, thank you so much for your feedback. It seems like people are enjoying this. Hope you enjoyed this episode. All the Tyrannosaur talk. It's always fun.
Yeah.
I think already we're noticing a lot smoother process
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
time
definitely.
compared to last time, and the separating out is a
Faster
bit.
preparing stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I
just,
can't set stuff up.
Hopefully the audio should be sounding better. It sounded like it was when we had a listen earlier.
Yeah.
So
Did we serenade you earlier?
yeah,
Robert earlier.
we'll continue to work on making things better if we can. Got some exciting things planned
Yeah.
soon, as we said, and hopefully get some more fossil hunts in soon.
Oh, definitely.
we want to go
100%.
back to the Isle of Wight. If we
You have to let me know when you're thinking of that.
Yeah, there's been quite a few storms recently down here on the south coast, so
I got some locations.
the
Some
island
locations.
will be good for fossils.
Someone actually found a dinosaur vertebrate at Yavland
No way, really?
recently. Yavland's actually not been so productive recently, but the shingle just exposed, and they found a complete beautiful ornithopod Culvert.
Oh,
Oh,
we gotta
cool.
go. Gotta
Really
go.
nice, but
Yeah, there's so many places on the island we can take
Godfather.
these to. Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, we have to.
Should we shout out the Codfather?
Yeah.
This place in Ryde on the Isle of Wight. If you're visiting for any reason, you have to stop at the Codfather.
Or a
Please.
battered Mars bar.
Battered
Oh.
Mars Bar is the best.
Best fish and chippy on the island.
It really is.
I think after that we have to end.
I'm so hungry now.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I need fish and chips. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank you
watching.
so much.
And yeah, leave suggestions for stuff you want to see us cover. Feedback, improvements. Hope you like the name. If you have better name suggestions,
Well, tough luck.
yeah,
Yeah,
we like
exactly.
Boneheads. But yeah, thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.